What's going on? Why is this sworn enemy lying next to him? Since he was awakened by the phone ringing in his ear, he woke up groggily, raising his hand to answer. His elbow barely moved. The aching sensation from his bones immediately jolted him awake. The phone's ringtone was irritating. He frowned deeply. His eyelashes fluttered a few times with his movement. Then he clicked his tongue impatiently, struggling to get up and hang up the phone. This was no small matter. The soreness and intense pain from below instantly shot from his feet to the top of his head. It hurt so much he grimaced. At the same time, it also brought back scattered memories from last night. A handsome, rugged face quickly flashed through his mind. After recalling certain details, he was clearly almost startled. He stiffly turned his head back, and sure enough, there was still a man lying next to him. Moreover, this man turned out to be his sworn enemy, Chin Man. Memories came flooding back. Ji-ran recalled that after drinking for 3 rounds at the bar last night, his drinking buddies eagerly told him that they had just seen Chin Man, whose family had recently gone bankrupt. In the bar, the two had been sworn enemies since their student days. As soon as Ji-ran heard this news, he immediately stood up and asked, "Where did you see him?" Upon learning that Chin Man was in the bathroom, Ji-ran stormed towards the bathroom. He planned to thoroughly humiliate Chin Man later. Sure enough, as soon as Ji-ran pushed open the door, he saw Chin Man washing his hands. The former business rising star who used to be on magazine covers every other day, now reduced to this sorry state. Thinking of this, he took out a black card from his wallet and threw it at Chin Man. "Hey, I heard you went bankrupt? Need some financial aid? Just sleep with me once." But before he could finish speaking, Chin Man showed a thoughtful smile and immediately agreed. With all his memories flooding back, Ji-ran now wanted to light a cigarette to calm down. But clearly, the situation didn't allow it, so he could only pick up his pants from the ground and hurriedly try to put them on. However, his body was in so much pain that his hands were involuntarily shaking. After struggling for a while without success, the man on the bed woke up. He grabbed Ji-ran's clothes. "Where are you going?" The man's voice was low and hoarse, breaking the silence. Ji-ran's movements instantly froze. He turned his head to see Chin Man's eyebrows slightly raised, his eyes carrying a hint of casual inquiry. "You're not thinking of running away after sleeping with me, are you?" Ji-ran's eyes widened. He quickly stood up to distance himself from him. "Me? Run? You didn't run. Why would I run?" But his movement was too sudden. Accidentally straining his waist, he instantly grimaced in pain. But there was no way he would show weakness in front of Chin Man, so he gritted his teeth and said, "I'm going to buy you a coffin. What style do you prefer?" Chin Man sat up, his gaze sweeping over a certain part of Ji-ran's body before casually saying, "Any style is fine, as long as you keep your word. First, pay up for this financial aid. Don't pretend you don't know me after sleeping with me." Ji-ran instantly laughed in anger. "Did I sleep with you? Or did you sleep with me?" Chin Man smiled ambiguously and looked up to ask, "Well, did you enjoy it?" Ji-ran was stunned. Following Chin Man's words, he instinctively shifted his gaze to look at the silhouette beneath Chin Man. Then he sneered, "Me? Enjoy? You're dreaming. That toothpick of yours isn't even enough to pick teeth with." Chin Man nodded slightly, then lifted the blanket and said, "Just wait." Ji-ran was startled. "Wait for what? Want to fight?" As he spoke, he picked up the pants from the ground and threw them at him. "If you want to fight, at least put on your clothes. Otherwise, when the ambulance comes later, it won't look good to be carried out naked." Chin Man put on his clothes while speaking. "I have professional ethics. I don't hit my clients. I'm going next door to ask. Since you don't seem to understand." "Ask what?" Chin Man snorted with a laugh. "Ask them if they heard any moaning last night. Then tell your friends you're trying to eat for free." Ji-ran was shocked. He had never realized Chin Man could be so shameless. Although they were sworn enemies, Chin Man was usually cold and aloof. Today's version of him, insisting on payment for financial aid, seemed like a completely different person. Ji-ran said, "Chin Man, have you no shame?" Chin Man shrugged indifferently. "I'm already bankrupt. What use do I have for those superficial things?" "Fine, you win." Ji-ran took out the black card from his pocket and threw it at Chin Man again. "The password is 19,951. You can only spend 500.000 more, or I'll kill you." Chin Man caught it accurately, spinning the card between his fingers. "Since you've hired me, I can agree to any request that doesn't threaten personal safety. We'll discuss the rest later. For now, just one condition," Ji-ran said through gritted teeth. "In the future, if anyone asks about that matter, you must say it was me who did it. It was your first time. You didn't know how to control yourself. It was my fault for not serving you well. Here's my health check report. Don't worry, I'm clean." The first episode said. Ji-in woke up to find his sworn enemy sleeping next to him. Recalling his drunken folly from last night, Ji-in wanted to slip away quietly. Who would have thought his sworn enemy Chin Man would wake up at this moment? Not only that, but he also claimed that Ji-ran had hired him for the night and demanded payment. Left with no choice, Ji-ran had to give him the card. His only request was that if anyone asked about what happened last night, Chin Man must say he was the one who got slept with. Regarding the sugar daddy's request, Chin Man raised an eyebrow and smiled. I know. If anyone asks me, I'll say you were amazing. You did me so hard I was in and out of consciousness. You didn't let me rest all night. Ji-ran was furious, feeling like his lifespan had suddenly decreased by 20 years. I didn't ask you to be so damn detailed. Alright, Chin Man nodded, taking out his phone. Let's exchange contact information. Since I've taken the money, I naturally need to remember. You can find me in the future if you need that kind of service. Ji-an's face turned red with anger again, but the situation was a bit tricky now, and it wasn't good to fall out with him. So after exchanging contact information, he hurriedly left. After leaving the hotel, Ji-in called a taxi and went to a small suburban villa he had bought recently. The first thing he did when he got back was to take a shower. Entering the bathroom, Ji-ran's originally straight back immediately bent a little. Damn, this hurts so much. It wasn't like the pain of getting bruised and bleeding in a fight, but more like 10 needles pricking in one spot, hidden and itchy. Just then, his phone rang beside him. Ji-in irritably picked up the phone. It was a message from an unknown number. Are you okay? Ji-in stared at the black avatar for a long time before realizing who it was. He didn't bother typing and directly pressed the voice message button. He moved the phone to his mouth and started ranting. How could I be okay? Why don't I do you once and you can see for yourself? I'm telling you, if my ass doesn't get better, I'll burn your house down. Chin Man's lips curled slightly. He sent 2 voice messages back. Where are you? I'll take you to the hospital, so you don't have to burn my house down. Ji-ran couldn't even face a delivery boy, let alone see a doctor. He might as well just die. I'm not going to any damn hospital. As he said this, Ji-ran had a sudden thought. You should go to the hospital for a checkup right now. I just casually said something last night and you slept with me. You don't have any diseases, do you? Ji-ran of course knew Chin Man didn't have any diseases. Who was Chin Man? Before going bankrupt, Chin Man was the golden boy in everyone's eyes. He guessed that Chin Man agreeing to go with him last night was probably because he was drunk, but he just wanted to say this, to trample on Chin Man's dignity. He thought Chin Man would get angry or simply not reply. Who would have thought that after just a few minutes, the other party sent a photo, followed by a voice message. Ji-ran opened the image and saw it was 2 medical examination reports. It took me a while to find these. Chin Man's voice was as usual. I got these reports just last week. Don't worry, I'm clean. It was my first time and I didn't know how to control myself. It's my fault for not serving you well. Since I didn't do a good job, I can't charge the full amount. You decide. Is 20,000 enough? As soon as he finished speaking, Ji-ran's WeChat interface suddenly changed again. Transferred 20,000 yuan to you. Ji-ran almost choked on his breath. He directly threw his phone. What did this bastard take him for? 5 minutes later, Ji-ran finally managed to climb into the bathtub, holding his waist. The moment the cool water touched his skin, Ji-ran felt like he came back to life. Gritting his teeth, with one foot propped on the bathtub, he picked up his phone. Unexpectedly, he came across a WeChat Moments post from Chin Man. It was just 2 simple words, looking for work. When Ji-ran saw these 2 words, he was completely shocked. He couldn't believe Chin Man would post such a thing. He repeatedly opened the profile picture to confirm several times before he could believe that this post was indeed from Chin Man. Lying in the bathtub, he couldn't help but feel emotional. All along, his impression of Chin Man had been that of a proud but not arrogant person. Could bankruptcy really turn that cold-faced, disdainful guy into what he was now? Let me tell you, I would never be interested in Chin Man in this lifetime. In the previous episode, while Ji-ran was taking a bath, he came across Chin Man's WeChat Moments post. He discovered that the once cold and aloof person was now looking for work on social media. He couldn't help but feel emotional. Could bankruptcy really turn that cold-faced, disdainful guy into someone so vulgar? For some reason, Ji-ran suddenly remembered Chin Man from their student days. It was back in middle school. He remembered that day. Right after pay class, he was surrounded by several boys. Because Ji-ran was an illegitimate child and attended the same school as his legitimate half-brother, he was often bullied. Although Ji-ran was young at the time, he wasn't a pushover. He retorted sharply to the taunts of the older boys. The result was predictable. The leader of the boys pushed him with one hand and angrily said, "Serves you right that your mom died as karma for being a mistress." This sentence directly touched Jian's sore spot. "Say that again if you dare," he said, immediately punching the other boy in the chest. Seeing this, the others all rushed forward, punching and kicking him. Just then, a long whistle sounded. It was Chin Man, wearing the armband of the disciplinary committee. Hearing the commotion, the group of boys who were fighting all stopped. They turned their heads towards the source of the sound. That image, no matter how many years passed, he could never forget. The clean, white school uniform shirt seemed to give him a layer of light, making him appear high above and unreachable. He just heard him say calmly, "I've already notified the school and the police. Do you want to wait with me?" Upon hearing this, the boys who had surrounded Ji-ran immediately scattered. "What are you doing here?" Ji-ran looked at him with dissatisfaction. "Don't tell me you're here for a stroll because you're too full." Ji-ran, "You're hurt. Come with me to the infirmary first." Chin Man's face showed no expression. That calm tone instantly made Ji-ran bristle. "Get lost. Those bastards couldn't possibly hurt me." Chin Man lowered his eyes and said nothing more, just silently looking at the injuries on his face. After a long while, he finally spoke softly. "This is your 5th fight this month." Ji-ran awkwardly turned his face away. "None of your business." As he said this, he turned to leave. Chin Man reached out to grab him, but accidentally touched the wound on his arm. Ji-ran hissed in pain and shouted, "Let go." Chin Man released his hand and just watched as Ji-ran walked out of the alley. Such a high and mighty flower. And half a minute ago he was looking for work on social media. The water in the bathtub had already cooled. Ji-ran snapped back to reality, cursing silently. "It's been so long. Why am I thinking about this?" He opened the all-black avatar and blocked him. After showering, he casually put on a bathrobe, preparing to dry his hair. Just then, someone rang the doorbell. Who could be so inconsiderate to come early in the morning? Ji-ran put down the hairdryer and walked to the door, holding his waist. Looking through the door monitor, he found it was actually his best friend, Le Wen. Speaking of this best friend, he came from a wealthy family, was a celebrity, had tens of millions of followers on Weibo, and was known by half the city. Yu Wenwen sat down and got straight to the point. "I'm saying, let's go to the bar tonight." Ji-ran remembered that Chin Man had taken him from a bar yesterday, so he lost interest. "Not going." Yu Wenwen looked him up and down. "Looks like Chin Man was quite fierce last night." "Huh?" Ji-ran was startled. In a few seconds, he had already cursed Chin Man's ancestors 18 generations back in his mind, but after a brief moment of panic, he quickly calmed down. No, Chin Man and Yu Wenwen were not connected in any way. Chin Man couldn't have told her about it. Ji-ran opened his mouth and said, "Who told you I did anything with Chin Man?" Yu Wenwen asked, "Did you drink yourself silly? You told me yourself last night." Ji-ran truly didn't remember this part. He had drunk too much last night, and his memory storage was clearly insufficient. He had completely forgotten the details before going to the hotel, but he did remember how he had scratched Chin Man in bed. Now that he was calm, he even remembered the temperature of Chin Man's body. Ji-ran cursed silently and immediately stopped reminiscing. Yu Wenwen continued to gossip. "I'm saying, you were different back in school. You've been keeping yourself pure for so many years, and I've never seen you have feelings for anyone. I didn't expect your first time to be with the genius Chin Man. You haven't fallen in love, have you? Get lost. I wouldn't fall for Chin Man even if I liked someone." Ji-ran interrupted him directly. "Stop talking nonsense. And what if I tell you I was the one who did him last night?" Chin Man looked at Ji-ran seriously. "If your body hasn't recovered, we won't be able to do business later." In the previous episode, Ji-ran's best friend Yu Wenwen came to see him. During the conversation, he asked about what happened between him and Chin Man last night. Ji-ran even said, "What if I tell you I was the one who did him last night?" Yu Wenwen fell silent upon hearing this. After a long while, he finally spoke, his voice full of shock. "Are you out of your mind? With your conditions, you could have anyone throwing themselves at you just by standing there. Why did you have to ruin Chin Man?" He didn't give Ji-ran a chance to speak and continued to roar. "You should know, Chin Man is the dream lover of thousands of us, and you just ruined him like this." Ji-ran was speechless. "Yu Wenwen, where's your dignity?" Yu Wenwen sneered. "How much is dignity worth? Hurry up and tell me. How much did you pay Chin Man? I want to try too. Maybe I can even make him come back." "Impossible." Ji-ran interrupted him directly. "Stop talking nonsense. I'm a clean freak. I've already made a long-term arrangement with him for a year." Yu Wenwen waved his hand. "That's no fun. Then bring Chin Man to the bar tonight. Everyone in the circle knows you left with Chin Man yesterday. They're all waiting to see you show off. Hearing this, Ji-ran's face darkened. Does everyone know about this? Yu Wenwen looked at him with schadenfreude. Who told you to be so agitated last night? You almost wanted everyone to know you had hired Chin Man. Ji-ran had a headache. He originally didn't intend to actually do anything with Chin Man, just to have him as a subordinate. He didn't expect things to go completely off track. Finally, he could only say reluctantly, "Alright, see you later then." The silver Lamborghini supercar always attracted glances from other cars even when stopped at a red light on the highway. He took out his phone and typed into the search engine, "WeChat how to add back someone you've blocked." Thinking that he had already announced he had hired Chin Man for a year, he naturally had to follow through. After adding Chin Man back as a friend, Ji-ran sent him a voice message directly. "Where are you? I need to see you. Send me your address. I'll come pick you up." After sending it, he tossed the phone aside. He was seen holding the steering wheel with one hand, the other resting casually on the car door. As soon as the red light turned off, his car roared away first. At the agreed location, Ji-ran had just parked when he looked up and saw Chin Man walking out. He was wearing a simple white hoodie with black jeans, standing straight on the street. His tall figure was quite eye-catching. Ji-ran couldn't help but glance at his own black hoodie and jeans, feeling something wasn't quite right. Just as he was about to get out of the car, he saw a young woman approach Chin Man. She said something to Chin Man, who responded with a bland expression and shook his head. Seeing Chin Man's aloof manner, Ji-ran's mind flashed back to their school days, picturing Chin Man in his uniform, cold and distant, keeping everyone at arm's length. This indeed fit Chin Man's image. While Ji-ran was lost in thought, he suddenly met Chin Man's gaze. Chin Man raised an eyebrow at him, refusing the business card the woman offered. Chin Man walked straight towards the car. After getting in, he leisurely fastened his seatbelt. Then he turned and asked, "Are you feeling better?" Ji-ran hadn't expected him to bring this up right away. He almost lost control of the accelerator and angrily retorted, "None of your business." "Of course it's my business." Chin Man glanced at him, saying seriously, "If you're not well, we won't be able to do anything later." Ji-ran told himself to stay calm. Getting angry would mean losing. The urgent matter now was to finalize the one-year contract. So he took a deep breath and said irritably, "I never said I wanted to sleep with you." Chin Man nodded. "Then what are we going to do now?" Ji-ran replied stiffly, "We're going to eat." After saying this, he didn't look at Chin Man again. He stepped on the gas and sped away. "You want to sponsor me for a year? Is my service that good?" Ji-ran had reserved a spot at a Japanese restaurant, simply because the private rooms were quiet, convenient for discussing business. After sitting down, he randomly ordered 2 dishes from the menu. When the waiter closed the door, Ji-ran leaned back in his chair and got straight to the point. "Let's discuss a contract. How much money do you want for a year's sponsorship?" Chin Man knew that Ji-ran never played by the rules, but hearing this, he was still a bit surprised. He gently put down his chopsticks and wiped his mouth leisurely. That refined and elegant manner made Ji-ran scoff. What kind of man wipes his mouth like that while eating? So affected. Chin Man smiled. "You want to sponsor me for a year? Was my service that satisfying?" Upon hearing this, Ji-ran instantly exploded with anger. He kept taking deep breaths, telling himself to stay calm. After a long while, he said impatiently, "Chin Man, if you don't want to continue living in this city, keep joking around. Let me tell you, I'm sponsoring you, not because I want to sleep with you." Chin Man looked up at him, his tone ambiguous. "Then why are you giving me money? Could it be that you don't like my body, but like me as a person?" Ji-ran corrected him through gritted teeth, deliberately choosing harsh words. "It's just to sleep with you, alright?" As he spoke, he slammed down his phone with a bang. He continued, "Not only that, you'll have to be available whenever I call. When I say left, you can't go right. Also, during our contract period, you can't mess around with others. I don't like my lovers cheating on me. Anyway, I have high standards, so take your time to estimate the price. Don't sell yourself short." Chin Man swallowed a piece of sashimi. He looked at Ji-ran and asked, "How much money do you have?" Ji-ran paused. "What do you mean? Anyway, I can afford you, as long as you don't ask for an astronomical price. 1 or 200 million should be fine." Chin Man smiled. 1 or 200 million won't be enough for me, but since I know your brother, I can give you a friendly price." Ji-ran's mood, which had calmed down considerably, immediately soured at the mention of his brother. His brow furrowed tightly. "He is he, and I am me. I don't need a discount." Chin Man looked at him, unconsciously clenching his fist, thinking of the complex relationships in their families. He didn't say more. "In that case, I want half of all the money in your account. How about that?" "Fine. Ji Ran, who never cared about money, agreed promptly, settling the matter. Then he picked up his phone and asked, "Finished eating? Let's go to the bar later." As he spoke, he stood up to pay the bill. After a while, when Ji Ran returned from paying, he saw a middle-aged man in the corridor, handing Chin Man a business card. Suddenly remembering that earlier, a young woman had also approached Chin Man, Ji Ran felt inexplicably annoyed. He walked straight up, aggressively saying, "I said no messing around with others, and that includes women. Understand?" Chin Lan immediately understood what he was referring to. "If you're talking about that woman on the street just now, she was a talent scout. I didn't even listen to what she was saying." Ji Ran snorted lightly, turning to walk out. "I heard being a celebrity pays well these days. Why do you look down on this profession?" Chin Lan replied airily, "Without experience, you can't do it well." Seeing him stop mid-sentence, Ji Ran impatiently turned back and asked, "And what? And I can earn a lot of money by sleeping with you. Why would I want to muddy those waters?" This statement clearly shocked Ji Ran. Has this guy's image deteriorated to this extent? He took out a cigarette, trying to appear calm, and said, "Can you stop mentioning sleeping together? When we go to pop later, watch what you say. If you let it slip, I'll make sure your Chin family goes bankrupt again." Before he finished speaking, the hand holding his cigarette was grabbed by Chin Man. Seeing the person in front of him getting closer, Ji Ran's heart skipped a beat. "What are you doing?" Chin Wan leaned down to his ear, deliberately slowing his voice, and reminded him, "Look to your right." Ji Ran turned his head, confused, and saw the prominent, "No smoking" sign hanging on the wall. He was instantly speechless. "You can play as you like. I'll drink for you." Babies, who could resist such boyfriend material? Yu Wenwen had reserved the best table at Pop. Today, the booth was full, with a few people who couldn't fit standing around. Yu Wenwen turned her head and saw Jian and Chin Man. It wasn't that she had sharp eyes, but these two standing one behind the other were too conspicuous in the crowd. Everyone knew who had arrived when they saw Yu Wenwen's reaction. They all stopped their conversations and turned to look, although Yu Wenwen had mentioned it beforehand. When they actually saw Chin Man beside Jian, many people were still surprised, their eyes widening. Although the place was fully booked today, a seat was still reserved for Ji Ran. Seeing him arrive, everyone tactfully made way for the central seat. Ji Ran ignored Chin Man behind him and walked straight to his seat. As soon as he sat down, a friend beside him laughed and very consciously handed him a cigarette. Ji Ran put it in his mouth, and someone immediately lit it for him. He had just taken a puff when he felt someone touch the outside of his thigh. It was Chin Man who had walked up and stood in front of him, but Ji Ran didn't speak, and no one dared to offer him a seat. Ji Ran looked up, their eyes meeting. After a moment, Ji Ran blew smoke towards Chin Man. "No seats left. Go stand outside." Seeing Chin Man's expression unchanged, everyone immediately understood that Ji Ran wasn't joking with them. He had really bought Chin Man. Seeing this situation, two men sitting in the corner couldn't help but whisper to each other, "Is it really okay to treat Chin Man like this? The Chin family is bankrupt. What could possibly happen?" Seeing Chin Man not moving, Ji Ran said irritably, "Didn't you hear me? Don't stand there in the way." Yu Wenwen stood up to interrupt him and waved at the person to Chin Man's left. "Quick, move over and make room for Chin Man." Knowing Yu Wenwen was trying to smooth things over, Ji Ran flicked his cigarette ash without a word. Seeing he had no objection, the person next to him carefully made room. Chin Man calmly took a seat on Ji Ran's other side. The entire booth instantly fell into a deathly silence. Yi Wenwen couldn't help but tug on Ran's sleeve, trying to break the deadlock. "Little Ran, you're amazing. You're so awesome. Bringing Chin Man here today. You've opened everyone's eyes." As soon as she finished speaking, someone fired the first shot. "Ji Ran, you're late. You should drink 3 glasses as punishment." It was Ji Yuj, a well-known rich playboy who had always been at odds with Ji Ran. He had his arm draped impolitely over a woman's shoulder, while his other hand raised a glass. "I'll drink with you." Ji Ran glared at Yu Wenwen, his eyes questioning. "What's this? You invited all sorts of riffraff?" Yu Wenwen looked innocent. "I didn't invite him. He was at the next table earlier. Looks like he came for you." Seeing this, Ji Ran said nothing more and didn't look at Ji Yuj. He picked up the full glass of wine in front of him and downed it in one go. That disdainful look made Ji Yuj's teeth itch with anger. Damn, this kid was ignoring him, not appreciating the favor. Huh? Ji Yuj drank while looking at Chin Lan sitting next to Ji Ran. He didn't believe that the Xing family's ice prince could really be subdued by Ji Ran, that bastard son. After drinking, Guj extended his glass to the woman beside him for a refill. The scantily clad woman hurriedly picked up the bottle with both hands, obediently pouring him wine. Jiran raised an eyebrow. So that's the game he wanted to play. He then turned to the person beside him and called out. Chin Wan elegantly crossed his legs. He hummed, "Pour me some wine." Jiran tapped the bottle's mouth with his fingertip. As many eyes swept over, Chin Man only glanced at the wine glass, then leisurely put down the bucket. He took out a handkerchief, wrapped it around the wine bottle that the woman had just held, and elegantly poured Jiran a full glass. Chin Man's pouring technique was excellent, without a single bubble. Several people looked speechless at the liquid that was almost overflowing from the glass. They asked with a forced smile, "So late? Afraid of wasting alcohol, huh?" Chin Man chuckled lightly. "How could that be?" Guj watched as these two whispered to each other, oblivious to others. His temple twitched slightly. With a loud thud, he heavily placed his glass on the table. He spoke up. "Jian, 3 glasses isn't enough. Dare to drink a few more with me?" Jian sneered. "What's there to be afraid of?" Guj waved his hand, asking the waiter to bring several glasses. He said, "Drinking one by one is too boring. How about 10 glasses at once? We're all here to have fun." Everyone was already accustomed to this scene. After speaking, Guj mixed 2 types of foreign liquor and filled 10 glasses. Then he pulled his female companion closer. "It's no fun with just the 2 of us. How about this? If I lose, Lily drinks." He looked behind the group. "If you lose, let Mr. Chin drink." Jiren hesitated, then said, "It's just us 2 drinking. It has nothing to do with others." Before he could finish, Chin Man directly agreed for him. "All right." Jiren said no more, just staring at him steadily. "Great." Guj succeeded. He raised his hand, and Lily immediately cozied up to him. "You're so bad. Why'd I have to drink?" Jiran turned his head and frowned. "Are you crazy? This is whiskey mixed with brandy. The alcohol content is no joke." Chin Man's face showed no expression. He just calmly said, "You play as you like. I'll drink for you." Since he's being so protective, I'll protect myself. As mentioned in the previous episode, faced with Guj's challenge to drink 10 glasses at once, Chin Man boldly agreed in front of Jiran. He said, "You play as you like. I'll drink for you." Jiran rolled his eyes. "Shut up and sit down. Who needs you to drink for me?" Chin Man said. "Isn't this rebellious one going to get drunk and throw money around again? You're my big client. Can't let someone snatch you away." Jiran looked exasperated. "You're really dedicated. Do you want me to give you a banner of appreciation later? Just give me the cash equivalent? That'll do." Jiran looked at his punchable face, trying hard not to swing a fist at it. After taking a deep breath, he picked up the dice cup. "Watch closely. You won't have a chance to drink for me." Chin Man watched his determined look, a faint smile tugging at his lips. At this moment, Guj was still coaxing the beauty in his arms. "Don't worry, baby. I won't let you drink." He shook the dice cup in the air for a long time, then slammed it down on the table with a bang. Jiran casually shook the dice cup and also slammed it on the table. "Jiran, what are you doing?" Guj's face was full of smugness. He wasn't really sincere about coming to drink with Jiran today. More than Jiran, he disliked Chin Man. The Chin family had previously taken a lot of business from his family, and Jiran had always been at odds with him. Unexpectedly, these two had delivered themselves to his doorstep today, so he wouldn't be polite. Jiran wasn't ambiguous either. He immediately said, "I bet on 5 ones," meaning that out of 10 dice between the two of them, if there were 5 ones, Jiran would win. Guj didn't expect him to call such a big bet right away. He glanced at his own dice. Not a single one among them. Without thinking, he opened the dice cup. "Jiran, I don't have a single one here." After saying this, he looked at Chin Man beside Jiran, his mockery obvious. "Mr. Chin, drink up." Chin Man didn't even give Guj a glance. He asked Jiran, "Should I drink?" "Hey, no way." Jiran directly lifted the cup in front of him. The 5 small dice inside each had only one small red dot. 5 ones. It was actually a leopard. Guj's face changed. He didn't expect Jiran to casually shake out a leopard. The others raised their eyebrows slightly, their tone arrogant. "You're not young anymore. Still having women cover for your drinking. Hurry up and drink it yourself. When you're done, I'll call 120 to send you home. Today, you'll have to obediently lie on that stretcher. Understand?" Yu Wenwen, having watched enough of the show, also chimed in. "That's right, big man. How can you let a woman drink for you? It doesn't look good." Young Master Guj's expression wasn't looking good at this point. "How could you shake that out?" Jiran, You didn't set up some mechanism in the dice cup, did you? Ji-ran scoffed. You think too highly of yourself. It's not worth my effort to cheat for a mere drink. Saying this, he reached out and put his arm around Chin Man beside him. He continued, I have the ability to protect my own people. Chin Man straightened up at these words, then smiled faintly at Ji-ran and said, you're not trying to back out, are you? You really want the woman to drink for you? There's nothing to back out of. Ji-Yujay's smile disappeared. He shrugged his shoulders forward, imperceptibly shaking off Lily. He picked up the glass. I wasn't really going to have her drink for me. I just wanted to change up the game. Ji-ran won, so I'll drink. Ji-Yujay looked down at the glass in his hand. The glasses in nightclubs aren't actually very large, but the alcohol is strong. Moreover, Ji-Yujay had bought high-proof foreign liquor earlier to mess with people. The two mixed together were particularly harsh. After 10 glasses, he was a bit tipsy. Although Lily hadn't been with Ji-Yujay for long, she knew his temper. If Ji-Yujay took her back in this state, she would surely suffer. So she immediately picked up the bottle, intending to pour for Ji-Yujay, planning to use some tricks to not fill the glass too much. But Ji-Yujay raised his hand to block the glass. He had a few drinks earlier, and with these 10 glasses of strong liquor, he was already a bit drunk and much bolder. His gaze fell on Chin Man. Mister, Chin must be bored just sitting there. Why don't you come pour me a drink? Hearing this, Ji-ran's face darkened. There are 2 glasses left. Are you saving them to raise fish? Ji-Yujay stood up and directly handed the glass to Chin Man. I'll drink, but I want Mr. Chin to pour for me. All eyes immediately focused on Chin Man. Chin Man looked up and gave him a cool glance, not moving at all. Seeing no reaction, Ji-Yujay urged, hurry up, don't delay our drinking. A flash of Chin Man's usual aloofness and coldness passed over his face, quickly returning to normal. He was about to speak when he was cut off. Why should he pour for you? Don't you have hands? Or are there no waiters in this bar? Thinking that even if Chin Man was a tiger fallen to the plains, bullied by dogs, he could only be his prey. No one else could touch him. Ji-Yujay became angry. His family is bankrupt. What's wrong with pouring me a drink? Ji-ran retorted. What's his bankruptcy to you? Ji-ran looked at Chin Man's back. I don't care who he is. He's under my care now. As mentioned in the previous episode, after 10 glasses of alcohol, Ji-Yujay became bolder. He directly said his family was bankrupt. So what's wrong with asking him to pour a drink? Ji-ran immediately retorted. What's his bankruptcy to you? Ji-Yujay stood up abruptly. The club manager, who had been standing aside for a long time, saw the situation was not good and quickly stepped forward. Bosses, how come you two are sitting together? That's not good. Young Master Ji-Yu, we've kept your previous seat. Why don't you go back there? Ji-Yujay still stood there with an ashen face. Ji-ran had embarrassed him in front of so many people. If he swallowed this, how could he show his face in the future? The club manager's face turned bitter, standing there at a loss. Both of these were hot-tempered big shots he couldn't afford to offend. Yu Wenwen was frantically signaling to Ji-ran, telling him to give Ji-Yujay a way out. After all, Ji-Yujay's father had some shady background. In such a chaotic place, they might not really be able to handle Ji-Yujay. But Ji-ran completely ignored her hints. He had already figured it out. This person kept coming to provoke him every few days. Sooner or later they would have to face off. Might as well do it now. Just then, Chin Man suddenly spoke up. It is a bit crowded. You have your own seat. Why are you trying to take someone else's? Are you short on money for drinks? No one expected Chin Man to speak up. Ji-Yujay first stiffened. Then his eyes widened. What? Before he could finish, Chin Man suddenly leaned closer to Ji-ran. Since you're old friends, why don't you pay his bill for him? Ji-ran paused for a moment, then instantly understood. A smirk appeared on his lips as he lazily leaned back on the sofa. He waved to the manager and said condescendingly, "Did you hear that? Put it all on my tab." Ji-Yujay exploded instantly. So he first picked on the easier target. Chin Man, who told you to butt in? Still think you're a big boss? Want to bet I can make you come in standing and leave lying down? Ji-ran couldn't stand seeing others act high and mighty in front of him. Who are you trying to scare? Chin Man beside him remained expressionless. If you really had that ability, how come you got your legs broken half a year ago? This statement stunned everyone. Even Ji-Yujay was suddenly silenced, his expression even more shocked than before. That day he went to the club alone. How did Chin Man know about that incident? If his old man found out about this, he'd be dead for sure. Thinking of this, Ji-Yujay left some harsh words and hurriedly left. Ji-ran snorted lightly. After those demons and monsters left, Yu Wenwen came closer. Across Ji-ran, she asked Chin Man, What's this story about broken legs? Tell me quickly. Chin Man smiled. He messed with someone he shouldn't have, got his legs broken, and was bedridden for nearly half a year. Really? Yu Wenwen was stunned. She took out her phone and scrolled through her chat groups. I can't believe I haven't heard about this. My 99 gossip groups. Oh no. The intelligence officers in there must not be efficient enough. Yu Wenwen held her phone and winked at Chin Man. They don't do any real work all day. Just ogle handsome guys. Brother Chin, you've already passed our gossip group screening. How about it? Interested? Chin Man asked. Is Ji-ran in it? Ji-ran frowned. What does that have to do with me? Yu Wenwen's almond eyes lifted. He finds us noisy and doesn't want to join. Chin Man played along. Then I won't join either. Yu Wenwen didn't push it. She stood up and winked at him. Alright, whenever you're interested, feel free to send me an application. With that, she immediately headed to the dance floor. After she left, the booth fell into a deathly silence. After a long while, someone finally spoke up softly. Using such things to threaten people. How childish. I was ready for a fight, but it ended up like this. Chin Man took the glass from his hand. He said calmly, as long as it works. The security in this club is managed by Ji-Yu-J's father. If you fight him here, you might end up at a disadvantage. Just as he finished speaking, a man from nearby suddenly approached. He bent slightly towards Ji-ran and said, last time at the supercar club, thanks to Brother Ran's recommendation for car repair, let me toast you. Ji-ran remembered him. Small matter. Next time, be careful when turning. You always turn too sharply. Easy to go off track. The man laughed dryly and scratched his head. I was just trying to drift coolly like you. Ji-ran picked up his glass and clinked with him. Maybe you can't learn it. Come play dice with me for a while. Chin Man quietly watched them from the side, thinking to himself that he liked racing in his spare time. Just then, the phone in his pocket suddenly vibrated. Chin Man looked away, took out his phone and glanced at it. Then he stood up and said to Ji-ran, I'm going to the bathroom. Ji-ran grunted in response without turning his head. After Chin Man left, the man in front said, Brother Ran, I have to tell you, Chin Man isn't someone to mess with. You really shouldn't compete with him. I've seen him at a cocktail party. Do you know who he was talking to? Ji-ran asked carelessly. Who? The King of Heaven? The man continued. Almost. I'm not exaggerating. Ji-ran paused, leaning back on the sofa lazily. I don't care who he is. He's under my management now. Don't worry. I'll definitely be on time for such an important occasion. After hanging up his mother's call, Chin Man turned and walked to the sink to wash his hands. Chin Man. Chin Man. Hearing this, he looked up to see a familiar face behind him. The young boss who had just taken over a certain company. Chin Man pulled out a paper towel and wiped his hands. With a faint smile, he asked, Do you need something from me? The young boss looked around and said, I know your family's current situation. My company has a big project at the end of the year. As long as you're willing to come over, it's yours. I can give you this much commission. The young boss made a gesture indicating a number. Chin Man glanced at it. Your company is quite generous. The young boss's eyes lit up. That's nothing. I know many companies want to recruit you. So, you mean? Chin Man smiled and interrupted him. Sorry, I found a good part-time job recently. I plan to rest for a while. I'm not considering formal work for now. After finishing, Chin Man returned to the booth. He found that the others were no longer in their seats. He asked the person who had toasted Ji-ran earlier, Where's Ji-ran? The man hesitated and explained. Brother Ran suddenly received a call and left in a hurry. Didn't he tell you? Seeing Chin Man's silence, the man panicked and continued. It must have been something urgent. I'm sure he didn't mean to leave you here. After these words, Chin Man's expression softened a bit. He nodded and smiled. I know. He's someone who considers others. As soon as he finished, the man was stunned. He wondered if they were talking about the same person. Just then, Chin Man's phone vibrated. He opened it to see. A WeChat message popped up. G-Dad transferred 1 yuan to you, followed by a voice message of a few seconds. On the other end, it sounded like a car window was open, with wind whistling. A male voice mixed in. I had to leave for something. Use this money to take a taxi back. The corner of Chin Man's mouth curved slightly. Then, with a normal expression, he accepted the money and immediately transferred it to a friend on WeChat who regularly donated to a welfare institution. Ji-ran rushed home. As soon as he drove into the community, he saw a black Mercedes parked outside his house. He instinctively eased off the accelerator and pulled up next to the Mercedes. He rolled down the window and called out to the dark rear window of the Mercedes. Grandma? There was no response from the backseat. The front passenger window lowered instead. The driver in the driver's seat said, Mr. G. Why don't you open the garage first? It's windy outside. The old madam is afraid of the cold. Ji-ran was silent for 2 seconds. He looked away and drove the car forward a bit, backing up to the license plate. The garage door slowly opened. The black Mercedes drove into the garage first. Ji-ran parked his car. Before getting out, he remembered something. He took out the cigarette pack from his pocket and casually tossed it onto the seat. The black car next door finally deigned to open its door. An elderly person slowly emerged from inside. In the living room, Madame G sat upright. She slightly raised her eyes to look at Ji-ran's clothes. Her brow furrowed imperceptibly, but she quickly regained her composure. It's been many years. You've grown taller. Grandma, we haven't seen each other for 7 years. Ji-ran reminded her with a laugh. His tone wasn't particularly warm. Madame G nodded. 7 years. And you've only come to see me in Haicheng once. Ji-ran flashed a white-toothed smile. Wasn't I busy? Grandma. Madame G naturally knew this was an excuse. This grandson of hers, who couldn't be seen in public, had troubled his teachers when in school. After graduation, he hadn't found a proper job. Apart from spending money on entertainment, what else could he be busy with? She asked. In these years since I left, how many times have you been home? At the mention of the G family, Ji-ran lost all patience. Grandma, just say it. What did you call me for this time? This Friday is your brother's engagement party. It's at the house with the garden in the suburbs. You should come. Ji-ran laughed coldly, thinking they must be afraid he wouldn't show up on the wedding day, and the media would spread rumors about the G family's illegitimate son again. Seeing Ji-ran silent, old Madame G was about to speak again. Ji-ran interrupted her. I understand. I'll be there. You're the only one in this family who still thinks of me. How could I refuse you? Don't worry. I'll definitely be on time for such an important occasion. Babies. Our green-haired Ji-ran finally makes his grand entrance. On the day of the engagement party, those greeting guests at the entrance immediately spotted their friend. Wang said goodbye to the person in front of him and quickly walked to Chin Man's side. I was worried you wouldn't come. Chin Man smiled faintly, his black suit adding a sense of restraint. Standing there, he looked even more impressive than those who had dressed up carefully. He handed the gift box to Ji. Engagement gift. Congratulations. Ji Wei took the gift. Thanks. You shouldn't have. Is everything okay at home? Chin Man said. It's fine. Ji Wei patted his shoulder. Given the situation, I won't say more. If you need anything in the future, just let me know. Chin Man nodded. I'll go in first. You go attend to other guests. A familiar voice sounded from behind. Chin Man paused. He turned to look at the source of the voice. When he saw clearly, Chin Man couldn't help but smile. Ji-ran was wearing a custom-made black suit, slim-waisted with long legs, noble and elegant, with his already delicate and handsome features. He should have been a pampered prince, yet he had dyed his hair a striking, flamboyant green color that looked particularly vibrant in the sunlight. Seeing Chin Man, Ji-ran also smiled, but he quickly composed himself, putting on a harmless smile, and said to the frowning Ji Wei, "Happy engagement, brother." Ji Wei's cold voice showed that he was holding back a lot because of the presence of others, but his tone was still unfriendly. Why are you here? Ji-ran flicked his hair. It's my brother's engagement. Of course I should come to congratulate. Where's my sister-in-law? Which family's daughter is she? Ji Wei's face turned ashen. This brother in his eyes was the symbol of his father's betrayal of the family. Every time he saw Ji-ran, he couldn't suppress the fire in his heart. No one sent you an invitation. Ji-ran remembered something and took out an exquisite invitation from the inside pocket of his suit. He waved it in front of Ji Wei. An invitation? I actually have one. Ji Wei stepped forward and said in a low voice. Ji-ran, I'm warning you. Either you leave now, or you act like a mute. Stay quiet inside. If anything goes wrong today, I won't let you off. Ji-ran put away his smile. Ji Wei, first of all, it's not your turn to be the head of the G family yet. Even if one day the G family really falls into your hands, I, Ji-ran, have no relationship with you. Don't try to order me around. Saying this, he stuffed the invitation into Ji Wei's suit lapel and turned to glare at Chin Man. Then he turned and walked into the wedding venue. Chin Man was bewildered by his glare. Ji Wei quickly controlled his emotions. Family scandals shouldn't be aired in public. Sorry you had to see that. Chin Man's gaze followed Ji-ran's retreating figure. It's fine. I'll go in too. He followed Ji-ran into the venue. Looking at Ji-ran's green hair, He thought it looked quite good. At this moment, Ji-ran entered the venue and immediately spotted the other protagonist of the day. The bride looked very gentle and virtuous. Wearing a white wedding dress, she was surrounded by several well-dressed bridesmaids. Their manners showed they weren't from ordinary families. He thought, it's the same at the Ji family's level. There are rarely pure marriages. What a pity. Such a good girl paired with Ji Wei. What a waste. Where should we sit? Suddenly a voice came from beside him. Ji-ran was startled. He instinctively turned around and found Chin Man standing behind him. Do you walk on tiptoe? I didn't hear a sound. Chin Man raised his hand to brush Ji-ran's hair, saying calmly, why did you do your hair like this? Ji-ran swatted his hand away. This is my engagement gift for my brother. I specially asked Yu Wenwen to find the most famous stylist Tony. Oh right, why are you here? Can you afford a gift? He squinted. You didn't use the money I gave you to buy a gift for Ji Wei, did you? Don't think I don't know. You two have been friends since school. Ji-ran knew his question was somewhat unreasonable. Once the money was in Chin Man's hands, it was up to him how to spend it, but he still felt unhappy. Chin Man said, no. I used my own savings to buy a pair of couple watches. Not very expensive. Ji-ran looked displeased. If you give a cheap gift, people will look down on you. You don't understand this, so you might as well not come. Chin Man casually said, your brother will understand. Ji-ran sneered. Then your relationship must be really deep. The butler accompanying old Madam Ji walked towards them. Young Master Ji, the old madam asked you to sit at the third table. She reserved a seat for you in advance. Ji-ran acknowledged and walked straight to his seat. The butler, seeing Ji-ran sit at the third table, felt relieved. Then he made an inviting gesture to Chin Man. Mr. Chin, this way please. Your seat is at the main table. I'll take you there now. Chin Man interrupted him. No need. Please just add a seat for me at the third table. Babies, if you want to see more exciting follow-ups, please click on the bottom left corner to search for strategies on Kuiken. Watch how the drama queen Chin Man, the mortal enemy, conquers our male lead Ji-ran step by step. How could I not know him? He's my junior from elementary school. Continuing from the last episode, Ji-ran went to the third table in the outdoor venue as arranged. Just as he sat down, he received a message from Yu Wenwen. Little Ran, you're so flamboyant. My moments are buzzing because of you tonight. Ji-ran was confused and continued reading. The other party sent a screenshot of a moment's post. Ji-ran opened the image and immediately saw his green hair. It seemed to be a candid shot taken when he just got out of the car. The image was high definition. Searching for 1,000 times in dreams. This photo will accompany me through the coming night. With that face and those legs, I'm willing to kneel until my knees are red, to stretch my mouth until it splits, day and night, for this jerk. What the hell is this? Ji-ran was stunned for a while before reacting. Who posted the last comment? I want to knock their head off. Just as he was about to type, he felt his ear get hot, as if someone was pinching it. The source's fingertips were slightly soft. Ji-ran's back tingled. He looked up calmly. Chin Man quickly let go. Why are your ears so red? Ji-ran quickly closed the chat window. Who allowed you to touch me? Are you a stalker? Chin Man sat down next to him very naturally and said in a low voice, isn't my job to accompany you? Ji-ran glanced at him. I'm not a woman. I don't need you to accompany me. When I need you, I'll naturally find you. Don't always come around for no reason. The junior said, your words are quite hurtful. Chin Man, in full drama mode, pretended to be hurt and said, but you never find me. Have you grown tired of me? Their combination was too peculiar. An illegitimate son and a bankrupt. People at the table couldn't help but observe them and start whispering, obviously annoyed at being watched. Ji-ran just wanted to end this conversation quickly. That's right, I'm a scumbag. Do you have a problem with that? Chin Man replied. No, I just like scumbags. Ji-ran was speechless, suddenly not knowing how to respond. At that moment, under the table, Chin Man suddenly held Ji-ran's hand. Ji-ran was stunned, turned his head, and saw the other person looking at him seriously. Ji-ran, I came specially to see you today. Ji-ran quickly withdrew his hand, awkwardly saying, you don't need to try so hard. I won't dock your pay. Chin Man chuckled softly, then withdrew his gaze. The market isn't good now. Nothing's easy. When you need to work hard, you have to. Ji-ran sighed in relief. Indeed, this was quicker. Chin Man was more normal now. He was too mushy earlier. Really unbearable. Not wanting to talk to him, Ji-ran put on his earphones. I'm going to play a game. Do what you want. Chin Man watched him open the game interface and smiled faintly, thinking to himself, let's take it slow. Can't rush. Meanwhile, at the venue entrance, Ji-ran's father, Ji Bajung, had just arrived. He looked around at the decorations and frowned. This engagement party is too elaborate. Why not hold it in a hotel ballroom? Ji Wei also looked helpless. He said he likes gardens. He referred to his fiancée. Ji Gojung grunted, about to enter. Ji Wei quickly stepped forward. By the way, why did Ji Ran come? My mom will definitely be unhappy when she sees him. Ji Gojung looked at him. Is it you who's unhappy? Or your mom? Don't worry. Your mom knows what's important. As for you, you've lost your composure over someone insignificant. Ji Wei gritted his teeth. I understand. Ji Gojung seemed to remember something. Has Qin Man arrived? I need to talk to him about the land in Xinjia Road. Ji Wei pointed to a spot not far away. He just went in. After walking a few steps, they saw Qin Man and Ji Ren sitting together. Both were looking down at their phones, appearing quite intimate. At this moment, Ji Ran was cursing under his breath in frustration. Damn it, died again. Qin Man said, I warned you. There's someone in the bottom right corner. Seeing Ji Ran still not responding, he suddenly realized Ji Ran's earphones might be too loud. The right earphone was suddenly removed. Ji Ran turned his head angrily. What are you doing? Qin Man said. The volume is so high. Don't you want your ears anymore? Ji Ran snatched back the earphone, cursing softly. It's because you keep nagging in my ear. Ji Bajung walked over at this time. Qin Man quickly stood up. Uncle Ji, long time no see. Ji Bajung walked to Qin Man's side without looking at Ji Ran. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? Ji Ran pouted, thinking to himself, calling him so intimately. One might think Qin Man is the son. Ji Gojung turned to Ji Wei, frowning. Why is Qin Man arranged at this table? How thoughtless. Ji Wei hurriedly explained. I arranged for him to sit at the main table. I don't know if the butler made a mistake. Ji Ran glanced at Qin Man suspiciously. Isn't the main table for the bride and groom's families? How come Qin Man, a bankrupt, was invited to the main table? What's going on? Qin Man politely declined. I'm fine sitting here. I haven't seen Ji Ran for a long time and wanted to catch up with him. Ji Gojung then turned his gaze to his illegitimate son. Feeling the gaze on him, Ji Ran turned his face. He neither stood up nor spoke. Ji Gojung frowned and asked, when did you two get to know each other? The tone made Ji Ran very uncomfortable. He stood up directly, raised his right hand, and placed it on Qin Man's shoulder. Can't you understand? He wants to drink with me. That arrogant attitude instantly made Ji Gojung bristle. Just as he was about to react, Qin Man spoke first. He suddenly raised his hand and held Ji Ran's fingertips, smiling lightly. How could we not know each other? Ji Ran is my junior from elementary school. Babies, if you want to see more exciting content, please click on the bottom left corner to search for strategies on Kuiken. Watch how the drama queen Qin Man, the mortal enemy, conquers our male lead step by step. Ji Ran never thought that the family door he couldn't enter for over 20 years would be opened to him by Qin Man with just one sentence. In the last episode, facing Ji Wei's inquiry, Qin Man suddenly raised his hand and held Ji Ran's fingertips, smiling lightly. How could I not know Ji Ran? He's my junior from elementary school. His fingertips were enveloped by warmth. Ji instinctively wanted to withdraw his hand, but the other person held on firmly. He couldn't pull away in one try. Moreover, Qin Man, while holding his hand, used his thumb to caress Ji N's palm where others couldn't see. Fuck. Ji N instantly bristled. At this moment, Ji Bajung lightly coughed. Ji N forcefully pulled his hand back. Qin Man calmly looked at Ji Bajung. Uncle Ji said there were too many people around. Ji Ran couldn't express himself well, so he secretly pinched Qin Man's back again. After pinching, he realized something was off. This kind of private gesture felt damn like a couple's behavior. Ji Bajung looked at them kindly and said, why don't you stay here tonight? You can catch up with Ji Wei too. It's a pity when childhood friends drift apart as they grow older. Qin Man smiled. How could I impose on you? He turned to look at Ji Ran. Are you staying here tonight too? Ji Ran had been eavesdropping and didn't expect Qin Man to direct the conversation to him. He was stunned and about to deny it when he heard Ji Bajung say, he's staying here. Ji Bajung's smile faded as he finally addressed Ji Ran. You haven't been back for a long time. Your grandmother has something to tell you tonight downstairs. Ji Ran never thought that the family door he couldn't enter for over 20 years would be opened to him by Qin Man with just one sentence. But why? Ji Gojung wasn't a philanthropist. Why would he care so much about a bankrupt Qin Man? If the court hadn't certified Qin family's bankruptcy earlier, he would have suspected this person was deliberately acting crazy in front of him. Ji Bajung dropped this sentence, then said to Chin Man, Mr. Lin and others were just asking about you. Let's go greet them. Chin Man nodded and replied, alright. Then he turned to Ji In and said, Junior, I'll be right back. Ji In rolled his eyes. Just go. Why tell me? Chin Man smiled at him, then turned and left. Ji In sat back down, letting out a long sigh. Finally, some peace and quiet. He swirled the red wine in his hand, his gaze fixed on Chin Man. He thought to himself, his former friend Mei had said Chin Man was following closely behind Ji Gojung. Those nearby were all old foxes from the first few tables. Chin Man was smiling, elegant, his every move like that of a seasoned businessman. Hypocrite. Ji Ran cursed inwardly, raising his glass and taking a gulp. Bored from sitting too long, Ji Ran put down his glass. He decided to go to the bathroom for a smoke. In the stall, he had just lit up when he heard several footsteps. Chin Man, what's going on? Did he really go bankrupt? What a coincidence. Ji In exhaled a smoke ring and continued listening. At this time, Ji Wei spoke. So what if he's bankrupt? My dad values character. Besides, my dad always liked him and wanted to promote him. Ji In silently agreed. Even a ghost wouldn't believe that statement. Is that so? By the way, I think I just saw Ji Ran. Ji Wei's voice grew louder. How annoying. Why mention that bastard? Another person hurriedly said. Don't be angry. I'm just curious. Why did you invite him? Are you trying to mess with him? Just say it. We'll all help you. Ji Ran squinted, thinking, come on then. We'll see who messes with whom. Ji Wei's voice continued. That bastard was invited by my grandmother. It's my engagement party today. Don't cause trouble. I'll find an excuse later to have security throw him out. Ji Ran took a deep drag of his cigarette. Then he stubbed out the cigarette and opened the stall door directly. I heard you want to throw me out. Ji Wei, aren't you taking yourself too seriously? As Ji Ran spoke, smoke billowed from his mouth. Let me tell you, not only can't you throw me out, but tonight you'll have to open your doors wide and invite me to stay. Ji Wei's face immediately darkened. His friend reacted first, pointing at Ji Ran. You, what about me? Ji Ran patted his hand away, looking Ji Wei up and down. This friend of yours is as thin as a stick. Want to bet if I punch him, he'll fly from the bathroom to the podium? Ji Wei angrily said. The atmosphere instantly turned cold as ice. After a while, Ji Ran finally spoke. Just kidding. How could I hit someone? His tone was particularly insincere. He looked at the two of them, satisfactorily adjusted his suit, and said with a fake smile, I'm done here. Carry on. You don't need to tell me. I'm not very interested in your family affairs. Meanwhile, at the wedding venue, Chin Ban was talking with an attractive woman, Han Zan. Seeing Ji Wei return to his seat with an unhappy expression, she wondered who had upset him. Just then, Ji Ran walked out of the bathroom nonchalantly, looking as if he owned the place. Ji Wei couldn't help but glare at him. It seemed the culprit had been found. They watched Ji Ran all the way back to the main table. The earlier friendly gesture had been rejected. The young cousin felt a bit embarrassed. Seeing Ji Wei return, she quickly called out, brother, with a red face. Ji Wei grunted in response, quickly hiding his previous displeasure. He smiled. You always said you wanted to meet Chin Man. Satisfied now? Then he turned to Chin Man. My cousin has admired you for a long time. You should at least dance with her later. Chin Man's smile didn't change. For a long time? Ji Wei said. Yes. She went to the same high school as us. She's also your junior. Chin Man smiled apologetically. Sorry, I don't quite remember. The girl's smile stiffened slightly, but her voice remained sweet. It's okay. I didn't expect you to. Ji Wei continued. Getting to know each other now is just as good. Chin Man, my little cousin really looks up to you. She's preparing for the university you attended. Since you're her senior, why not help her out? Chin Man nodded and took out his phone. In that case, the girl's eyes lit up, and she immediately opened her WeChat. Chin Man held his phone in front of the girl. On it was clearly a QR code for a business card. I have a friend still doing his master's there. Contact him. He'll help you. When Chin Man returned to the table, Ji Ran was staring intently at his phone, engaged in an intense gunfight. Without looking up, he said in a voice only the two of them could hear, Chin Man, I'm warning you, if you dare use my money to get with someone else, you'd better be prepared to die. My, little junior, your words are so scary. Chin Man rested his chin on his hand, watching him play the game with interest. So you saw that I didn't get with anyone else. Your cousin just asked me about university admissions. Ji Ran found it amusing. The Ji family must really lack connections if they need to consult others about getting into university. They probably have all the school relationships sorted out before that cousin even starts studying. Chin Man paused, then suddenly asked, "Did Ji Wei give you trouble just now?" Jiran's hands didn't stop moving on the game, as if he could. Then he realized something was off. "This is my business. What's it to you?" Knowing he wasn't bullied, Chin Man felt relieved. He then asked, "Are you staying tonight?" What a strange question. Jiran looked up at him. "What are you planning?" Chin Man patted his shoulder. "If you're staying, eat something first. Your family doesn't seem to live in this house often, and there's not much takeout nearby. You might get hungry later with nothing to eat." Jiran was stubborn. "I'm not eating. Mind your own business." The banquet ended promptly at 9 p.m. The butler led Chin Man to the first guest room by the stairs. "Mr. Chin, this is your room. There's a landline on the bedside table. Just call if you need anything." Chin Man nodded. "Thank you. Is Jiran next door?" The butler replied. "No. Miss Ji is next to you. Mr. Jiran is at the end of the hallway." At that moment, Jiran interrupted them. Heading straight for the room at the end, he waved off the butler. "All right, what is this? Elementary school? We don't need to stay together. I'm going to my room. I'll call if I need anything." The room had its own bathroom. Jiran took a shower and came out. He went to the balcony for some fresh air. Only then did he realize the surroundings were all trees, with no other scenery. Jiran somewhat regretted it. Was he out of his mind? To annoy Ji Wei, he'd thrown himself into this remote place to space out. He went back to the room and picked up the cigarette pack on the table. He realized it was empty, so he casually grabbed a jacket. He walked out of the room, intending to get cigarettes from his car. Unexpectedly, as soon as he opened the door, he heard people talking outside. It was Ji Wei's voice. "At least tell me how you and Jiran met." Jiran stopped in his tracks and glanced towards the sound. Chin Man and Ji Wei were standing at the edge of the stairs. Their backs were to him, so he couldn't see their expressions. He only heard Chin Man say, "I've told you before. I know he's your junior, but you two never interacted in school. Did he approach you because you're my friend and he found out about your family's situation?" Chin Man interrupted him. "Although my family has fallen on hard times, it's not that bad. You're overthinking. Besides, he's your brother. How can you talk about him like that? I advise you not to get too close to him. It's beneath you." Ji Wei took a deep breath and continued, "I rarely say this, but since he's my dad's child with that woman." Chin Man's voice floated in the air, neither cold nor warm. "You don't need to tell me. I'm not very interested in your family affairs. If there's nothing else, I'll go rest now." Babies, if you want to see more exciting content, please click on the Quick Look app in the lower left corner and search for Strategy Death Squad. Let's see if we'll pretend to be crazy after drinking. I thought it was someone else. If I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered getting dressed. After parting ways with Ji Wei, Chin Man returned to his room. He picked up his phone and sent a message to his new boss. "Did you drive here today?" As soon as he sent it, a red icon appeared in front of the message. "You are not his friend yet. Please send a verification request." Chin Man raised an eyebrow and smiled. He wondered what he'd done to offend this master again. Late at night, sleeping soundly, he was suddenly awakened by a knocking at the door. He frowned, remembering he was in someone else's house. He could only throw on a shirt and go open the door. As soon as he opened it a crack, the smell of alcohol wafted in. It was his difficult-to-please new boss standing outside. He was dressed similarly, just casually wearing a shirt. His suit pants were obviously hastily put on. Jiran's eyes were glistening, his lips wet with remnants of alcohol. He stood straight and suddenly said, "Chin Man, let's sleep." Chin Man was taken aback. Jiran nodded. "Yes." Chin Man laughed. "You're drunk again." Jiran frowned. "I'm not drunk." In fact, he really wasn't drunk. The alcohol in the guest room wasn't strong. He just felt a bit hot and lightheaded. After returning to his room earlier, he got increasingly annoyed. What did it mean that Chin Man being with him was beneath him? He was clearly Chin Man's patron. Ji Wei didn't know shit. With just one word from him, Chin Man would have to grovel at his feet. Seeing Chin Man not speaking, Jiran became irritated. "You've taken my money. Can't you be more enthusiastic?" Jiran's buttons weren't done properly, exposing a large patch of fair skin around his collarbone. The masculine lines of his frame were particularly attractive in the darkness. Chin Man's eyes darkened. "Do you know where we are?" Jiran lost patience. "If we're not doing it, forget it. I'll go find someone else." He turned to leave, but his wrist was suddenly grabbed. "Come in." In the dim light, Chin Man lowered his voice, sounding like an old fox bewitching him. Jiran gritted his teeth and walked in. As soon as he entered, he heard a click. The door was closed. The bedroom returned to darkness. The curtains were drawn tight. Jiran could hardly see anything. He moved a few steps but accidentally bumped into the nearby cabinet, making a muffled sound. Chin Man grabbed him again, this time on his arm. Be careful. The other's palm was very hot. Jiran blurted out, "Why don't you turn on the light?" Chin Man laughed. "Who sleeps with the lights on?" After saying that, he reached up and pressed the switch on the wall, turning on a small bedside lamp. It barely lit up the room. Then he walked towards the bed. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt. "I thought it was someone else. I just threw on some clothes. Didn't even button it properly. If I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered dressing." The yellowish light illuminated his upper body. Chin Man sat on the bed, one leg crossed over the other knee, hands propping himself up on the bed, leaning back. "Come on." Jiren suddenly realized his heart was racing. Even his throat was trembling slightly. He stood motionless, trying hard to remember what he did last time. Chin Man raised an eyebrow. "What's wrong? Are you scared?" Jiren never backed down. He raised his chin. "Scared my ass." He straightened his back and walked over stiffly, moving his arms and legs in unison, full of awkwardness. He sat down on the edge of the bed next to Chin Man. Chin Man looked at the person sitting half a bed away from him. His sleepiness had completely vanished. He held back a laugh and said, "Sit properly. Don't fall off." As soon as he touched the bed, Jiran felt his bottom aching faintly. He thought to himself that this time he must be on top, to let Chin Man taste that pain. As he was thinking, a whiff of shower gel suddenly hit him. Chin Man had moved his hand, now propping it next to Jiran's leg. "How are you going to do it without taking off your clothes?" Jiran felt goosebumps rising. He gritted his teeth and pushed hard. "Don't worry about me. Just lie down." Chin Man obediently lay down in the center of the bed. Jiran saw this and instinctively pressed him down. "Are you that desperate? Why are you in such a hurry to undress? Don't you know how? Let me do it." In the previous part, Jiran had come to Chin Man's room, emboldened by alcohol, declaring he wanted to sleep together. But seeing Chin Man continue to undress, Jiran bristled again. "Are you that desperate? Why are you in such a hurry?" Chin Man was amused. "A little bit. Besides, it's past 3 a.m. now. We should sleep." Not to mention Chin Man lying there, looking at him meaningfully with his right eye. Recalling past events, Jiran took 2 deep breaths. Damn it, it's just sleeping, right? He'd seen it all before. So Jiran steeled himself, took off his slippers and pounced on the bed. He looked down at him like this. They stared at each other for a few seconds. Chin Man wanted to laugh at the person kneeling on top of him, but he had to hold it in, which was really uncomfortable. So he spoke up. "Sit down." Jiran said, "Stop rushing me. You're annoying." But what should he do exactly? He had watched videos before, but when it came to actually doing it, he had no idea where to start. Just then, a hand slipped under his shirt. Jiran was startled. Chin Man smirked. "Don't you know how? How is that possible?" But before he could finish speaking, Chin Man suddenly sat up. "Babies. Due to harmonious reasons, the following plot will be omitted. Friends who want to see the full version, follow the old rules and look for the way in the fan group. After it's done, eating instant noodles together. What kind of experience is this?" In the previous part, Ji Ran and Chin Man came to attend Ji Wei's engagement party. At night, Ji Ran, emboldened by alcohol, came to Chin Man's room. The following plot, you all understand. 2 hours later, Ji Ran lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, waiting for the afterglow to subside. When Chin Man returned from rinsing his mouth, Ji Ran, with red ears, asked in a muffled voice, "Got any cigarettes?" Chin Man pulled back the covers and sat beside him. "No, I don't smoke." "Liar." That time, Ji Ran's words trailed off. Chin Man said, "Last time I smoked yours. Just occasionally. That's called stealing." Ji Ran finished speaking and lifted the covers to get out of bed. Chin Man grabbed him. "Where are you going?" Ji Ran replied, "To get cigarettes from the car." Chin Man said, "Let me go get them. I'm worried someone might see you." Ji Ran seemed to have his tail stepped on, his tone turning unfriendly. "So what if they see me? Are you afraid I'll be kicked out?" Chin Man pointed at him and said tactfully, "You're probably not in a state to go out right now." Ji Ran followed Chin Man's gaze in confusion and looked at himself. His collarbone was covered in red marks, all left by Chin Man's biting earlier. "Fuck, are you a mosquito?" Ji-ran couldn't help but curse. He took the car keys from his pants pocket and threw them at Chin-man. The cars parked at the entrance. In the trunk, Chin-man caught the keys and was about to leave when Ji-ran called out, "Wait, there's instant noodles in the trunk too. Bring a pack. I want beef flavor." This guy actually keeps instant noodles in his trunk. How cute. Chin-man held back a laugh and asked, "Can I have a pack too?" Ji-ran replied grumpily, "Pay up. 12 yuan a pack." 10 minutes later, they opened their instant noodle packs. The aroma of junk food immediately filled the room. After eating and drinking their fill, the sky was already turning light. Ji-ran interjected, "Getting up. I'm leaving." Chin-man asked, "Aren't you going to sleep?" "If I sleep, I'll sleep in my own room." Ji-ran snorted, glancing at him sarcastically. "Besides, don't you want your good brother to know about us?" Chin-man shrugged, "I don't mind." Seeing his attitude, Ji-ran felt inexplicably annoyed. It's just losing virginity. Why be so depraved? Not even caring about face in front of friends. For Chin-man, making money shouldn't be difficult, and he had transferred quite a sum to him. That money might not make him rich, but at least he could start a small business, right? Could it be that he gave too much, making Chin-man complacent? Ji-ran buttoned up his shirt. "You're too fat. It's too tight sleeping together." He picked up the car keys from the bedside and turned to leave. Unexpectedly, as soon as he opened the door, he was startled by the figure in front of him. Outside stood his younger cousin's sister, wearing a tracksuit, her hand raised as if about to knock. Seeing Ji-ran, she was also stunned, instinctively saying, "Sorry, I wanted to ask Chin-man to go jogging. I must have knocked on the wrong door." "You didn't." Ji-ran turned back. "Chin-man, someone's asking you to go jogging." Chin-man's voice came from inside. "Sorry, I need to sleep a bit more. I won't go." Ji-ran said, "Did you hear? He said he's not going." The little cousin suddenly came to her senses, her eyes widening in shock. You. Ji-ran tossed his car keys, taking the initiative. "What about us? Haven't you seen two men eating instant noodles together before? But I only have 400 yuan. Can I compensate in other ways?" In the previous part, after Ji-ran and Chin-man finished their business and ate instant noodles together, it was already dawn. Just as he was about to leave, he encountered his little cousin who wanted to invite Chin-man for a run. Finally, he left coolly under her shocked gaze. Near noon, Chin-man finally left the room. He glanced at the corridor mirror and saw Ji-ran yawning as he walked out. Seeing his state, Chin-man smiled gently. Walking up to Ji-ran, he asked, "Awake?" Ji-ran rubbed his eyes and grunted in affirmation. He had planned to get up early, but last night was too indulgent. Plus he drank a bit, so he couldn't wake up at all. It's all this guy's fault. Ji-ran looked at Chin-man, who naturally helped him tidy up. Remembering last night, his lower back felt slightly numb. Ji-ran went downstairs and saw Ji-wei sitting on the sofa looking at documents. He didn't plan to greet him and turned to leave. Ji-wei's brows furrowed, about to speak, when Chin-man suddenly said, "I've already told uncle everything I needed to. I won't disturb you further." Seeing Chin-man about to leave too, Ji-wei called out to him, "Tang said you and Ji-ran ate instant noodles together. That stuff isn't nutritious if you eat too much. There's plenty in the fridge at home." Chin-man smiled and interrupted, "It might not be nutritious, but it's delicious." The moment he stepped out of the house, he felt even the air was fresher. Indeed, he and the Ji family were incompatible, not suitable for long stays. He started the car and rolled down the window. Not in a hurry to leave, he took out his cigarette pack and put one in his mouth. Just as he was about to light it, an arm suddenly entered his vision. The cigarette was snatched from his mouth. Ji-ran was startled and looked up to see Chin-man standing outside the car window, holding his cigarette. "Keep smoking and your lungs will turn black," Ji-ran said. "My heart's already black. I'm not afraid. Give it back." Chin-man laughed, raising his hand to put the cigarette to his own mouth. Ji-ran glared at him. "Are you sick? Are you so poor now you can't even afford a cigarette?" Chin-man nodded. "How about you give me a ride?" Ji-ran asked. "Where's your car?" Chin-man replied. "I'm bankrupt. Where would I get a car? I took a taxi up the mountain yesterday." Ji-ran snorted. "Not giving you a ride. Walk back yourself." Chin-man lowered his head and smiled. He nodded twice. "All right, will you look for me in the future?" The high-end car's engine was quiet. The silver body zoomed away, leaving only a sentence in the wind. "Won't look for you. Get lost." Chin-man stared at the car's tail for a while, smiling helplessly. He turned and walked towards his own car. He had just taken out his car keys, about to open the car door. Then, As if thinking of something, he abruptly withdrew his hand. He tossed the car keys back into his pocket, and holding the unlit cigarette, began to walk step by step down the mountain. Jiran drove for a while before remembering to turn on the navigation. As it started, he heard the mechanical female voice in the car say, "Starting navigation, 53 kilometers to destination." Jiran couldn't help but take another look at his phone. Is it really this far from the city? He didn't feel it was this far when he came yesterday. After driving for a while longer, he realized there wasn't even a single passing car on this mountain road. Trying to get a taxi would probably mean waiting by the roadside until dark. The villa the Ji family bought was quite high up. Walking would probably involve quite a climb. Remembering what Chin Man did to him last night, Jiran laughed coldly. He deserves to suffer on the mountain. Chin Man had been walking on the mountain road for a while when his phone rang. Ji Wei asked, "Where are you? Why is your car still parked outside my house?" The roar of an engine came from afar. Chin Man looked up to see the silver sports car returning. A smile tugged at his lips. "Leave the car at your place. I'll have someone pick it up this afternoon. I have something to do now. I'll hang up now." Seeing him, the silver sports car accelerated. It was about to overtake him. Chin Man stood straight, not moving an inch. The car screeched to a halt beside him. The window rolled down. The person inside said fiercely, "Fare is 1,000, take it or leave it, but I only have about 400. Chin Man bent down, suggestively saying, "Can I compensate in other ways, darlings?" If you want to see more exciting content, please click on the Quick Look app in the bottom left corner. Search for Strategy Stay to see how our cunning Chin Man strategizes. The money you gave me, I gave it all to my parents. Now I don't even have a place to live. In the previous part, cunning Chin Man told Ji Ran he had no car to go down the mountain. Ji Ran, feeling guilty, returned and demanded 1,000 as a fare. Unexpectedly, Chin Man said, "I only have 400. Can I compensate the rest in other ways?" That suggestive look made his intention clear instantly. Jiran exploded. "Just walk to the village." 3 minutes later, Chin Man sat in the passenger seat, casually fastening his seatbelt. Jiran, with a black face, asked, "Where do you live?" When we reach the city," Chin Man said. "Just drop me off anywhere. I need to find a place to stay." Jiran frowned. "Find a place?" Chin Man's face remained calm. "My previous place was mortgaged. I'm planning to rent one for now." Jiran rolled his eyes. "What price range are you looking at?" Chin Man thought for a moment. "Within 1,500 per month." Jiran, who hadn't rented in over 20 years, asked, "What, you want to rent a toilet to live in? Where have you been living before?" Chin Man said, "At a friend's place. But I've stayed too long. It's embarrassing. So I started looking for a place." Jiran sneered. "You know what embarrassment is? I thought you'd lost all sense of shame long ago. Didn't I give you money before? Not enough for a hotel? I gave it all to my family." Chin Man passed the buck so smoothly that Jiran hadn't thought of it. He asked again, "Then what about your family?" Chin Man sighed. "Afraid of debt collectors. They went abroad." Jiran asked, "Why didn't they take you?" Chin Man smiled. "No, I still have things to deal with here. Can't leave. Besides, those debt collectors aren't having it easy either. If I ran away, wouldn't they lose their jobs?" Unexpectedly, this person had a hidden attribute of a world-class White Lotus. Jiran was dumbfounded. "You're so kind. Why don't you do charity work?" Chin Man seriously replied, "I used to have time before, but now I don't have the means." Jiran was speechless. He shut up. The two drove in silence until they were almost in the city. He then asked, "If you can't find a place, where will you stay?" Chin Man took out his phone. "Then I'll stay at a hotel for now. Hotels are very cheap these days. About 100 yuan a night." Jiran immediately imagined Chin Man in a suit, in a cramped rental room, but the image was jarring and incongruous. It even lagged a bit. How could he fall to such a state? After being silent for a long time, he awkwardly said, "That 20,000 you were going to pay me back. I didn't take it. Use it to stay at a better hotel." Chin Man said, "I gave that 20,000 to my parents too." Jiran snorted coldly. "Why don't you give them your life while you're at it?" Chin Man smiled, turning to look at him. "Didn't I sell my life to you? How could I sell it to anyone else?" Darlings, if you want to see more exciting plot, please click on the Quick Look Comics app in the bottom left corner. Search for Strategy, Sworn Enemy to see how cunning Chin Man strategizes step by step to win over our male lead. If you ever have a boyfriend or girlfriend, remember to tell me. I may be poor, but I don't like being the third wheel. In the previous part, Chin Man told Ji Ran that he had given all the money he received to his parents. Ji Ran sneered, "Why don't you give them your life while you're at it?" Only to hear Chin Man suggestively say, Didn't I sell my life to you? Jiran instantly became uncomfortable. Don't talk nonsense. I don't deal in human trafficking and I don't want your life. Just then, a phone rang. Jiran glanced at the caller id and answered. Yu Wenwen's coquettish voice came from the other end. Little Ran, when are you coming home? I've been waiting for you for so long. My tummy is so hungry. At this sickeningly sweet tone, Chin Man unconsciously sat up straight. Jiran said, wait till I get back. Want me to stuff the bowl in your mouth? If you have something to say, just say it. Why so fierce? We're going to play ball this afternoon. I've also invited Cheng Peng and his little lover. Cheng Peng's car broke down, so he wants you to pick him up. Cheng Peng was their good friend. Recently, he and his new lover were all lovey-dovey. They hadn't been seen at entertainment venues for a while. Jiran laughed mockingly. Ha, itching for a beating. Asking me to be your driver? Yu Wenwen asked. Is the ball court near his house? Alright, I'm hanging up. I still need to draw my eyebrows. Waiting for you. Moi. After hanging up, Jiran turned his head to see Chin Man's face looking not too good. Impatiently, he said, what's wrong with you now? Why are you looking at me like that? Since he started the phone call, Chin Man's eyes hadn't moved away. His lips were slightly pursed, his gaze resentful, looking just like a wronged wife. After a while, he finally asked, do you like Yu Wenwen? Jiran almost missed the break. You have quite an imagination. Chin Man felt relieved. He hadn't slept well today and had a bit of a headache. He casually said, if you ever have a boyfriend or girlfriend, remember to tell me. I may be poor, but I don't like being the third wheel. I'll refund you the extra money then. Jiran paused, realizing he had stepped into a minefield. I didn't mean anything by it. After that, the car suddenly fell into an awkward silence. Jiran looked indifferent, saying flatly, don't worry, if I have someone I like, I definitely won't let you embarrass yourself in front of them. With that, he hit the brakes, stopping the car by the roadside. He kicked Chin Man out. Get lost. That afternoon, at the basketball court, Jiran, pass it, Yu Wenwen, out of breath, was directing near the opponent's basket. Jiran's movements were swift. In 2 or 3 moves he passed and set up. He jumped for a beautiful dunk. The basketball was slammed hard into the hoop by him, falling to the ground with a loud thud. No more. No more. Cheng Peng sat on the ground, wiping his sweat. Damn, can't you go easy on us? Who'll dare play with you in the future? I'm not bullying you. You're just too weak. Jiran walked to the side. Cheng Peng's little lover anxiously asked, Brother Jiran, want some water? Cheng Peng's little lover looked young, still had bangs, with big black eyes, quite cute. At this time, Cheng Peng walked to Yu Wenwen and asked, who upset him? He's playing like he's venting today. What else? He went back to the Ji family last night. Yu Wenwen gave him a knowing look. As longtime friends, they naturally knew each other's family situations. Cheng Peng quickly said, don't tell me he got into a fight with his brother. Why didn't you call me for something like that? Yu Wenwen's face darkened. No, Chi Wei got engaged yesterday. He went to congratulate them. Cheng Peng sighed in relief, patting his shoulder. You're something else. Actually letting him go alone. Yu Wenwen disgustedly swatted his hand away. There were so many people at the engagement. His dad and grandma were there. That hypocrite Chi Wei wouldn't dare do anything to him. Don't mention this in front of little Ran later. Cheng Peng made an okay gesture. On the other side, Jiran took the water and asked, are you of age? The boy was startled, nodding. Why yes, I am. Jiran frowned, thinking to himself, he's even a stutterer. Cheng Peng came over and sat down, pulling his little lover close. He looked up and asked, by the way, bro, I heard about you and Chin Man. Not bad. Daring to mess with even Chin Man. Should I compliment you on your skill and courage? Cheng Peng reeked of sweat, but the boy didn't seem to mind. His shoulders were slightly hunched, looking a bit touched. Jiran said, don't mention him to me. What about you? Bringing someone directly to your home. Aren't you afraid your parents will find out and skin you alive? Cheng Peng chuckled. Am I afraid of them? Besides, my house has so many rooms. If they come, I'll just say it's a friend visiting. Remember, my family isn't like Chin Man's, always meddling. Hearing this, the boy's ear tips immediately turned red. The others raised their eyebrows after hearing this but didn't say anything. Just then, a message notification sounded on the phone. He picked up his phone and saw 2 messages. Transferred you another 600 yuan. Memo, the rest of the fare. I misspoke today. I'm sorry. Don't be angry. If you don't want to see me, I won't come. Look at our cunning boss pretending to be a green tea again. In the last part, Chin Man voluntarily joined Ji Ran and others' PUBG game. As the circle started to shrink, Chin Man somehow got a motorcycle and said directly to him, "Get on. I'll take you." Ji Ran didn't even look, continuing to run forward on foot. Chin Man just followed behind on the motorcycle, neither leaving nor pushing. After Ji Ran ran for a while, he saw Chin Man's health bar and frowned. "Your health is too low. Take a medkit first." Chin Man smiled helplessly. "I didn't find many medkits. I've used them all up." Just as he said this, the cold and indifferent figure in front finally stopped. A few seconds later, 2 first aid kits appeared on the ground. He got off the bike to pick them up, bandaging his wounds while saying, "That day in the car, I misspoke. Don't be angry. Is there anything I can do to make up for it?" Ji Ran hadn't expected him to still be mentioning this. He had actually stopped being angry long ago. At this time, Yu Wenwen's voice came through. "What are you angry about, Ji Ran? How did you upset little Bai Yang?" Ji Ran sensed the gossip in Yu Wenwen's tone and impatiently said, "Can't you focus on the game?" Saying this, he turned back and got on Chin Man's motorcycle, telling him, "Let's go." Yu Wenwen, not getting a response, still persisted. "Is there no kind soul to satisfy my curiosity?" Chin Man started the bike while changing the subject. He asked casually, "Are you still living at Ji Ran's place?" "Yeah, I really like the house little Ran bought. The bathtub and pool are especially big." Yu Wenwen paused. "Ji Ran, you should have been there, right?" Chin Man's face instantly darkened, and he stopped talking. Instead, Ji Ran scolded from behind, "Why so talkative?" Then he propped up the gun on Chin Man's shoulder. "There are people at 25 degrees. If we take them out, we win." After playing games all afternoon, they suddenly felt hungry. He said, "Let's stop after this round and go eat." Cheng Peng immediately agreed. "I recently found a good Sichuan restaurant. Let's go try it together." Yu Wenwen changed the subject. "Hey, man, want to come along? We're planning to play mahjong after eating." Chin Man asked, "Is that okay? Won't I be intruding?" "How would you be intruding?" Ji Ran coldly said. "Forget it. We're just playing some meaningless games. How could we waste your time?" Chin Man lowered his eyes. "If you don't want to see me, I won't go." Yu Wenwen looked up, staring intently at Ji Ran with a pained expression, as if saying, "You heartless man, using people and tossing them aside." Cheng Peng chimed in, "And you say I'm bad? You two are even more lovey-dovey." "Fine." Ji Ran frowned. "You shut up." Then he glanced at Chin Man. "Come if you want. Stop acting coy." After a hearty meal at the Sichuan restaurant, the four set up a mahjong table. Cheng Peng had his little lover sitting on his lap and asked, "I heard Ji came looking for you guys at the bar that day." Yu Wenwen nodded. "Yeah, to be precise, he was after Chin Man, but he didn't succeed in the end." Cheng Peng nodded and said to Chin Man, "You should be careful then. That bastard Ji is really sneaky. He likes to do things behind people's backs. There was someone who offended him before. Ji waited for a dark night, put a hood over the guy's head, and beat him into the hospital. In the end, because there was no evidence, the guy who got beaten could only swallow his anger." "Damn, that happened?" Yu Wenwen immediately turned to look at Chin Man. Then man, you'd better not walk alone at night for a while. You have dirt on him. Who knows what he might do if pushed to the edge." Chin Man smiled, his tone casual. "It's fine. He probably won't be that bold. Besides, if he really dares to come after me." Yu Wenwen's eyes lit up. "You'll teach him a lesson with your iron fists?" Chin Man patted his chest righteously. "Then I'll call the police." Ji Ran snorted without looking up. "You're such a good citizen of the new society." Cheng Peng, being a mahjong expert, started hugging his little lover's waist as soon as he got a good hand. "Baby, you draw the tile." The boy carefully drew a tile. "Self-draw. Sorry, my baby has better luck." Seeing this scene, Ji Ran couldn't help but say, "Can you stop being so disgusting? Don't you have hands to draw tiles yourself?" They had been playing for over 40 minutes, and he hadn't won a single hand. The money wasn't important, but losing continuously was frustrating. It came to the moment of deciding which tile to discard. After hesitating for a few seconds, he was about to throw out a tile. Suddenly, Chin Man sitting beside him reached out and held his hand. "Don't play this one." Then he picked up another tile. He put it in Ji Ran's hand. "Play this one. Trust me." Ji Ran paused, as if making up his mind. He picked up the tile Chin Man suggested and threw it out. 8 of circles. As a result, just one round later, Yu Wenwen discarded Ji Ran's winning tile. Ji Ran, finally winning, looked at Chin Man and said, "You have pretty good luck." From this round on, Chin Man kept giving him various hints. In just half an hour, They had won a lot. Ji-ran had become the big winner. Ji-ran never forces others. If you're forced to do something you don't want to, I suggest you just call the police directly. In the last episode, Ji-ran played mahjong with Yu Wenwen and others after dinner. During this time, Ji-ran made a fortune with Chin Man's help. After Ji-ran won another hand, Cheng Peng couldn't help but say, "Chin Man, you're not cheating, are you? You can guess what we're waiting for every time." Letting Ji-ran hide those tiles so well, Ji-ran retorted, "Your little darling self draws every time he picks a tile. Why don't you say he's cheating?" Cheng Peng snorted and said no more. Instead, the boy in his arms nervously waved his hands. "I'm not cheating." Yu Wenwen beside them widened her eyes and asked, "I'm really curious. Man, how did you know what tiles I was waiting for in the previous rounds?" Chin Man smiled. "It's nothing. I can roughly guess from the tiles you've discarded." Ji-ran turned to him. "You can even count tiles? Why didn't you teach me earlier? I lost so much before." Chin Man said, "I couldn't before. I just figured out the rules of mahjong." Cheng Peng and Yu Wenwen were silent for a while. Could this be the legendary gambling god? Chin Man said to everyone, "I'm going to the restroom." But Cheng Peng rolled up his sleeves and exclaimed, "Hold on. You learned all this in just a moment and can even count tiles? Come on, let's continue." I refuse to believe this. When Chin Man came out of the restroom, he ran into the young boy with Cheng Peng. The boy saw him, first lowered his head, then slowly extended his hand. "Hello, I'm Chen In." Chin Man put his hand in and shook it. "Hello." Perhaps because of their similar positions, Chen In, who had been quiet before, suddenly asked, were you also forced to come here? You mean forced to come here?" Chin Man raised an eyebrow. Chen In nodded vigorously. Chin Man discreetly withdrew his hand. With a faint smile on his face, he said, "Ji-ran doesn't force others. Also, if you're forced to do something you don't want to, I suggest you just call the police directly." Chen In wasn't sure if it was his imagination, but he felt that the person before him now had an elegant smile, completely different from the submissive and ingratiating demeanor he had shown in front of Ji-ran earlier. Chen In hunched his shoulders as he entered the private room. Just as he turned to close the door, Cheng Peng waved. "Baby, why were you gone so long? Come here quickly." He glanced at the empty space beside him and asked, "Chin Man didn't come back with you?" Chen In was stunned for a moment. It took him a while to realize the question was directed at him. "When I came out, he was on the phone." The others responded with a faint acknowledgement. Chen In hesitated for a long time before adding, "He seemed to be in some kind of trouble." Yu Wenwen leaned in and asked, "What kind of trouble?" Chen In shook his head. "I only heard something about selling a house and moving." Ji-ran pushed his tiles forward, interrupting their conversation. "I win." Cheng Peng opened the drawer and looked inside. It was completely empty. "Damn, where did all my chips go?" Ji-ran, "You've really struck it rich today." Ji-ran looked exasperated. "It's just a bit of pocket change. What's there to get rich about? Can't you have some ambition?" Cheng Peng laughed. "If you don't care about money, then give the chips back to me. It'll improve our brotherly relationship." Yu Wenwen scolded him. Hey, don't always try to take advantage of little Ran. If you want it back, fine. These chips added together don't even reach 6 figures. The others casually pulled open the drawers. Just as they were about to take out the chips, they suddenly remembered something and slammed the drawers shut. Crossing their arms, they said arrogantly, "Never mind. I won't give them back after all." When Chin Man returned to the private room, he found it empty. Everyone had already gone home. He turned around and found that Ji-ran hadn't left yet. Ji-ran was sitting on the sofa by the window, smoking a cigarette. Chin Man asked, "Everyone's gone. Aren't you going home?" Ji-ran leaned against the windowsill. His hand holding the cigarette pointed towards the cabinet. "Take the chips you won just now. You can cash them in at the front desk." Chin Man shook his head. "No need. It's all yours," Ji-ran said. "But the initial stake was yours." Ji-ran took 2 chips out of his pocket and held them in his palm. "My initial stake is here. Alright, stop talking nonsense. If you don't want it, throw it away." Chin Man didn't argue further. "Okay then, thank you." The two walked out the door. Ji-ran stubbed out his cigarette on the ground. He suddenly became curious about where Chin Man was living now. After all, nothing would make him feel better than seeing Chin Man in a miserable state. so he turned back to look at Chin Man and asked, "Do you want a ride?" Chin Man replied, "No need. I can get back on my own." Such a blunt rejection instantly annoyed Ji Ran. With a bang, he got into his car and sped away, stepping on the gas pedal. Ungrateful bastard. Who was it that was so eager to get in my car when we were on the mountain? Now everyone knows you're my person. If my friends see you living in some cheap motel that costs $100 a night, where am I supposed to put my face? After parting ways with Chin Man at the card room, Ji Ran didn't go straight home. Instead, he went to the racetrack. The arrogant sound of engines echoed across the track. A newcomer to the racing scene couldn't help but mutter, "Who is that? So arrogant." The manager smiled and said, "You're lucky. You've only been here 2 days and you get to see Ji Ran. Many people come to the track every day just to see him race once." "Wow, he's that amazing? He looks quite young. Why doesn't he become a professional racer? I heard racers make a lot of money these days." The manager patted his shoulder. "Look at the car he's driving. Do you think he needs money?" After Ji Ran had run a few laps and stopped the car, his adrenaline from the wild ride hadn't completely subsided. The manager was waiting for him at the finish line. "Ran GE, the card room just called. They said you left your lighter there." That lighter was a limited edition, and he quite liked it. Ji Ran decided to make a trip back to get it. As he temporarily parked by the roadside, Ji Ran saw a tall figure. Chin Man was still wearing the same clothes from earlier, standing by the club's entrance making a phone call. It looked like he hadn't left at all. As he hung up the phone, Ji Ran hesitated for a moment before walking over. "Why are you still here?" Chin Man turned around, a rare look of surprise on his face. "Why did you come back? I'm the one asking questions here." Chin Man looked hesitant. After a moment of silence, he spoke. I'm still waiting for a ride." Ji Ran sneered. "Even if you were waiting for a plane, it would have taken off by now." Chin Man cleared his throat. "All right, actually, I'm looking for a place to stay." Without waiting for Ji Ran to ask, he continued, "My father owes quite a bit. The mansion's creditors couldn't wait to find me. The place I'm renting now isn't safe. I can't go back there for now." Ji Ran was speechless. "Then why don't you stay at a hotel?" Chin Man replied diplomatically. "They have my identity information. They can track me down." Ji Ran frowned. "Aren't you an expert at calling the police? Since you're in the wrong, just let them make a fuss. It'll be easier to settle things when you go back. By the way, why did you come back?" Ji Ran replied, "I left my lighter." Chin Man nodded. "Go get it then." Ji Ran paused for a moment. "So what are you planning to do next? You can't just stand on the street." Chin Man said, "I'll wait until later. Then find a hotel that doesn't require registration. Don't worry about me." Ji Ran scoffed. "Who's worried about you? You just keep waiting. I'm going in." Chin Man nodded and replied, "All right." A moment later, Ji Ran came out with his lighter. He noticed it was drizzling outside. With a chill in the wind, Ji Ran took the lighter from the card room attendant who brought it out. He looked around and saw Chin Man still standing in the same spot. Chin Man saw Ji Ran come out and smiled at him, making a goodbye gesture. "Take care." Ji Ran suddenly remembered a night in his first year of high school. It was raining that day too. He had forgotten his umbrella and was stuck in the school building. Chin Man suddenly appeared from around the corner and said coldly, "Ji classmate, evening self-study is over. Don't linger in the teaching area." Ji Ran cursed under his breath and turned to leave. After a few steps, Chin Man called out, "Wait, if you don't have an umbrella, I have an extra one here." The two figures overlapped perfectly, but Chin Man's demeanor was different. One cold, one gentle. Ji Ran cursed inwardly at this troublesome drowned rat. Half a minute later, he walked up to Chin Man. He said bluntly to Chin Man, "Are you doing this on purpose? Now everyone knows you're my person. If my friends see you living in some cheap motel that costs $100 a night, where am I supposed to put my face? There's an empty servant's room at my place. Go stay there for now." Chin Man looked at the umbrella Ji Ran handed over, stunned for a moment. "Ji Ran, why are you only coming back now? What's going on?" There's actually a beautiful woman squatting at Ji Ran's doorstep. The previous episode explained that Ji Ran went back to the card room to get his lighter and found Chin Man still standing in the rain outside. Out of sympathy, Ji Ran let Chin Man stay at his place. "My luggage is still in the rented apartment. The debt collectors are always guarding outside. If I want to get my luggage, I can only do it at night. So at 2 a.m., Ji Ran's face was as dark as it could be. He felt he must have been possessed to be up in the middle of the night, accompanying Chin Man on this ridiculous errand. He sat in the car, looking at the apartment building in front of him. "Chin Man, I heard this apartment building's monthly rent starts from just 1.000. Chin Man corrected him. It's 800. A friend kindly rented it to me, because the landlord is a friend. I feel uncomfortable continuing to stay here. Jiran scoffed. So you do know how to feel uncomfortable. Chin Man smiled, not looking upset at all. Wait for me here. I'll be right back. If you don't see me in 10 minutes, I'll call the police for you. Chin Man said. No need. That's too much trouble. If you don't see me, just leave. Go home and sleep. As he turned to go upstairs, he heard the car door open. Chin Man looked back and saw Jiran getting out of the car. Jiran had his hands in his pockets. Come on. I'll go up with you. The way you are. If you really run into someone, one punch and you'd be knocked down. He walked ahead. Chin Man looked at his back and smiled. This guy was clearly shorter than him, yet he was acting like a big brother. After a few steps, Jiran noticed Chin Man wasn't following. He turned back. Come on. What are you standing there for? The sooner we solve this, the sooner we can go home. Chin Man responded with a, yeah, and followed, holding back his laughter. The two entered the apartment one after another and took the elevator to the 20th floor. As the elevator doors opened, Jiran stepped out with an imposing air. He looked around and saw no one. He made a gesture. While there's no one around, move quickly. Chin Man opened the door. Jiran glanced inside. The apartment was in a good location and quite spacious. It looked expensive. Seems Chin Man's friend was quite generous. I'll go pack my luggage, Chin Man said. He asked, do you want me to pour you a glass of water? Jiran rolled his eyes. You're here to pack up and run, not to entertain me as a guest. Chin Man nodded and went to pack his luggage. Meanwhile, Jiran, bored, looked around at the apartment's decor. The decoration was simple, with a gray and white color scheme. It looked good, just a bit uninteresting. He noticed a painting on the wall. It depicted a large banyan tree and a sea. Jiran wasn't an art expert, but he instinctively felt the painting was well done. Somehow, he felt the scene in the painting was familiar, but he couldn't quite place it. There seemed to be a signature in the bottom right corner of the painting. He stood up, about to take a closer look, when he heard a noise from the bedroom. All right, let's go. Jiran turned around, surprised. So fast? Your luggage is too little, isn't it? Chin Man, carrying a small bag, replied. I didn't bring much when I left. Let's go. If I'm missing anything, it's no big deal. Jiran pointed at the painting on the wall. By the way, aren't you taking this painting? Seeing the painting? Chin Man imperceptibly turned his head. That painting isn't mine. It's the landlord's. Jiran took another look and blurted out. Who's the landlord? Is this painting for sale? Chin Man asked. Do you like this painting? It's alright. Just thought it looked good on the wall, Jiran said. Chin Man's lips curved slightly. The landlord painted it himself. He likes it too. Probably won't sell it. Jiran didn't persist about the painting. He wasn't really an artistic person, and this was the first time he'd been interested in a painting. As they left the apartment, Chin Man asked, will I really not bother you if I move in? Jiran glanced at him. You won't. Don't think too highly of yourself. Besides, you've already packed. Why ask now? Chin Man said. Isn't you Wenwen also staying at your place recently? So what? I told you we're friends. Don't look at us with those dirty eyes. They drove home. Just as they turned into the community, they saw a woman wearing black stockings, a mini skirt, and a large denim coat standing at his door. Little Ranran, why are you back so late? Is it the super moisturizing limited edition? What kind of heavenly treasure is this? The previous episode mentioned that Chin Man returned home with Ji-ran. Unexpectedly, they encountered a young woman in black stockings at the door. She called out, Little Ranran, why are you back so late? Before Chin Man could ask, Ji-ran unbuckled his seatbelt, cursed under his breath, and quickly got out of the car. Ji-ran hurriedly ran to the woman's side. He didn't question or get angry. Instead, he took her bag and supported her waist. The woman clung to Ji-ran for a while. Little Ranran, why are you back so late? Help me take a bath in a bit, okay? Chin Man narrowed his eyes slightly. After watching for a few seconds, he unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car too. In those few seconds, he composed himself. Chin Man approached the two with a smile, asking, do you need any help? Ji-ran, holding the bag and trying to steady the person, was visibly annoyed. No need. I'll help her in. You park the car in the garage. Chin Man looked the person in Ji-ran's arms up and down. He suddenly asked, is he your lover too? Ji-ran was stunned. What? Chin Man grabbed his hand and continued. Am I not enough to satisfy you? Or do you want both men and women? Ji-ran laughed, realizing what he meant. I not only like both, I like all ages too. Got a problem with that? Chin Man stood there thinking for about 10 seconds. Seeing no reaction, Ji-ran shouted, what are you spacing out for? Let go, Chin Man calmly said. I'm thinking about how to drive him away. What? Jiran thought he had misheard. Chin Man resumed his usual smile. I'm joking. He then grabbed Jiran's hand without another word. He took the person from Jiran, looking friendly. Jiran, I don't know how to drive your car. I'll help with the person. You go park. Late at night, Jiran didn't want to stand outside in the cold wind. He quickly opened the door. Chin Man helped the person to the sofa. Just as he was about to turn around, the woman suddenly raised her hand and tightly gripped Chin Man's wrist. With the lights on in the house, Chin Man finally saw the woman's face clearly. Bright eyes, big eyes, the type men like. So he said, let go. As he was about to pull his hand back, the other person's grip suddenly tightened. She looked shocked. I must be drunk. I can't believe I'm dreaming about Chin Man. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Little Ranran. Chin Man frowned, his eyes showing some absurdity. So he asked, do you know me? The woman, following her dream dialogue, held Chin Man's hand tightly, sat up straight and leaned in. Since I'm dreaming, I won't hold back. Jiran parked the car and came back through the side door. As soon as he opened the door, he heard a faint voice crying, ow, it hurts. Little Ranran. Murder. Jiran quickly walked to the living room and was immediately shocked speechless by the scene before him. He saw Chin Man pressing the other person down on the sofa with one hand, while restraining their hands with the other, his knee pressing down, clearly a beautiful restraining move. Your taste in women is terrible. She just tried to undress me. Jiran rubbed his temples, feeling a headache coming on. Let her go first. Chin Man pushed further. If you don't want to be cheated on, I suggest you kick her out. What cheating? Jiran couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, are you blind? She's Yu Wenwen. Let her go now. Yu Wenwen wasn't completely drunk. After this commotion, she sobered up a bit from the shock. She sat on the sofa sobbing, pitifully extending her hand to Jiran. Little Ran, my hand hurts so much. Is it dislocated? Is it broken? Jiran rolled his eyes. It's fine. You stink. Go take a shower quickly. On the other side, Chin Man sat up straight and sincerely apologized. I'm sorry. Yu Wenwen turned her head repeatedly to confirm. Little Ranran, am I still dizzy? I can still see Chin Man. What should I do? Jiran quickly grabbed her as she was about to pounce on him. Stop being drunk and crazy. Otherwise, how do you think your hand got hurt? Yu Wenwen paused and asked the person in front of her. Are you really Chin Man? Chin Man said, it's me. Yu Wenwen was on the verge of tears. Then just now, I didn't mean to. I thought I was dreaming. Little Ranran, you know me. I wouldn't dare touch your man. Jiran, used to her drunken antics, played along. Yes, yes, yes. Now take off your wig and go take a shower. Yu Wenwen asked pitifully. Will you be angry with me? Jiran, too lazy to correct her words, sighed and said, no, I knew Little Ranran was the best. I'll go take a shower then. Yu Wenwen stood up and was about to walk to the bathroom when she suddenly remembered something. She turned back, walked to Chin Man's side, and took something out of her pocket, her eyes full of reluctance. Little Man, I was wrong just now. Take this as my apology. It's really good. If you don't believe me, you can try it with Little Ranran. Chin Man opened his palm. In it was a small transparent bottle. From the label, it was a bottle of lubricant. The bottle had 2 large characters, limited edition. You say you care so much about face. Why do you want to establish this kind of relationship with me? The previous episode mentioned that Jiran brought Chin Man home, unexpectedly encountering the drunk cross-dresser Yi Wenwen. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Yi Wenwen gave Chin Man a bottle of limited edition lubricant. Jiran's patience was completely exhausted. He picked up a nearby cushion and threw it at Yi Wenwen. I can't stand it anymore. Don't give me these weird gifts. Go take a shower. Seeing that Yu Wenwen finally obediently went to the bathroom, Jiran cleared his throat. He's not usually like this. He's drunk tonight. Saying this, he picked up the luggage from the ground. Come with me. Jiran's house didn't have a maid's room. There were only 2 guest rooms prepared. Yu Wenwen occupied one, and the other was next to the master bedroom. Although the room was a bit small, it had everything necessary. He was about to return to his own room when he suddenly remembered something. He turned back and warned, if you make noise, I'll kick you back to your small hotel. Chin Man nodded. I understand. Then he suddenly opened his palm, revealing the small bottle. What about this? Jiren froze instantly. What do you mean, what about this? Of course. Throw it away. With that, he slammed the door shut. Chin Man looked at the closed door, the corners of his mouth slightly curving up. He thought to himself, how cute. The soundproofing in the house wasn't bad. Everyone slept fairly well through the night. The phone on the bedside table vibrated softly. Jiren buried his head in the pillow. A few seconds later, he reached for the phone and brought it to his eyes. The screen was full of messages from Yu Wenwen. Little Ranran, I just went out to get water and saw Chin Man. Am I crazy? Or am I still drunk? Damn. Little Ranran, I'm leaving. I won't disturb your world for two. Jiren yawned, tossed the phone aside, and was about to go back to sleep when he suddenly heard something fall outside the door. He sat up abruptly, quickly put on a pair of boxers, and left the room. He saw Chin Man standing in the kitchen. Hearing the noise, Chin Man turned around. Did I wake you up? Jiren quickly turned on the range hood and frowned, asking, what are you doing? The whole house smells of oil smoke. Chin Man replied, I wanted to make you breakfast, but obviously, I wasn't successful. As he said this, he opened the lid. A burnt smell wafted out. Jiren went over to look. The porridge inside had been cooked beyond recognition. It was no longer drinkable. His kitchen was also in a mess. Jiren's morning temper reached its peak at this moment. You can't even cook porridge. How did you not starve to death before? He scolded while wiping the table with a cloth. Chin Man awkwardly said, I won't mess around in the future. Jiren was wiping the stove. He wasn't wearing a shirt, revealing smooth back lines. His shoulder blades protruded slightly. A pleasing sight. Chin Man looked for a while, unable to resist wanting to get closer. Just then, Jiren suddenly sneezed. Chin Man saw this and quickly ran back to the room to get him a shirt. As he was draping it over Jiren's shoulders, he lightly traced Jiren's collarbone. Startled, Jiren got goosebumps all over and nearly jumped. He turned back and scolded. What are you doing? He hastily put on the shirt. Seeing this, Chin Man couldn't help but reach out to adjust it. You should wear it properly, to avoid catching a cold. I see the porridge is ruined. Should I order takeout for you? Jiren shook his head, refusing. He was tired of the takeout around here, and his mood wasn't great now. He wanted to eat something light. He washed the pot, turned on the fire, and added oil. His actions smooth and practiced. Chin Man asked in surprise. You know how to cook? Jiren replied in a poor mood. What else? His attitude was bad. But Chin Man wasn't affected at all. I thought you always ordered takeout. Why don't you hire a housekeeper to cook? Jiren paused. He had indeed hired someone before. But after a few days, the housekeeper drugged his food. In the middle of the night, Yu Wenwen carried him to the emergency room. Since then, he no longer trusted others and cooked for himself. At least he wouldn't die from poisoning. After a while, Jiren said, none of your business. Take your breakfast and get out. Don't enter the kitchen again. After eating and drinking, Jiren casually picked up a car key and prepared to go out. When he reached the living room, Chin Man was standing by the window making a phone call. I don't need it. I'm fine now. The other person said something unknown. Chin Man suddenly looked up at Jiren. I'm staying at a friend's house. Yes, an old friend. You don't know him. Thank Uncle G for his kindness on my behalf. But I'm afraid I won't have time for dinner this afternoon. Okay, see you tonight then. Chin Man hung up the phone and looked at the person beside him. What's wrong? Jiren asked. Was that Ji Wei? Chin Man nodded. He asked to meet me tonight. Jiren sneered. You're so close with Ji Wei. You've fallen so low. Yet he doesn't seem to be helping you out. Chin Man replied. He did offer to help, but I refused. Jiren frowned. This person was really strange. He refused help from all his good friends, yet was willing to lower himself in front of him. Thinking of this, Jiren suddenly became curious. Chin Man, you say you care so much about face. Why do you want to establish this kind of relationship with me? Aren't you afraid this will get out? What if it reaches the ears of your good friends? Why did you always like to pick on Chin Man when you were in school? He didn't seem to provoke you much. In the previous episode, Jiren asked Chin Man, you say you care so much about face. Why do you want to establish this kind of relationship with me? Aren't you afraid this will get out? What if it reaches the ears of your good friends? Chin Man replied meaningfully. It doesn't matter if it gets out. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe it. Jiren thought that was true. If this had happened a few months ago, he wouldn't have believed it himself. So he took out his phone. Then I'll call Ji Wei right now. Chin Man looked sincere. Sure. Do you have his phone number? Do you need me to give it to you? Damn, he really didn't have Ji Wei's number. And seeing Chin Man's behavior, he was certain he wouldn't tell. Ji-ran felt it was pointless and threw the phone back in his pocket. Talking on the phone isn't satisfying. I'll tell him in person next time. At the billiards hall, Ji-ran stood listlessly to the side. Chang Peng, holding a cue stick, asked while pocketing balls, "Why are you just standing there? Did you overindulge after getting a taste? Fuck off. You're the one who overindulged." Chang Peng looked him up and down. "Then why do you look so weak? Why didn't you bring Chin Man along today?" Ji-ran glared at him. "Why would I bring him? You think everyone's like you, always bringing that little thing around. Afraid others won't know you have a lover?" Chang Peng looked matter of fact. "I like him. Of course I want to bring him along." Ji-ran snorted. "You like him that much? Why don't you take him abroad and make it official then? It's not at that stage yet." Chang Peng laughed. "Don't you like Chin Man?" Ji-ran looked shocked. "What are you saying? How could I possibly like him?" Chang Peng rubbed his head. "If you don't like him, why spend money on him? Got too much to burn? Just because you hate him?" Ji-ran said. "I've actually been quite curious. Why did you always like to pick on Chin Man when you were in school? He didn't seem to provoke you much." Ji-ran remembered that back in school, he and Chin Man didn't get along. On days when Chin Man was on duty, he would deliberately mess up the classroom. Then the next day, Chin Man would retaliate with a drawer full of trash. On Monday's flag-raising ceremony, Ji-ran replaced Chin Man's speech with an erotic novel. Chin Man, holding the paper, recited the entire speech without changing expression. The next day, Ji-ran's phone was infected with a virus. No matter what key he pressed, it would pop up the same erotic novel from the speech. Ji-ran stole Chin Man's homework from the teacher's office. Chin Man immediately replaced it with a photocopy. During random inspections by the student council, all the cigarettes Ji-ran had hidden in the dorm were confiscated. Similar incidents were countless, continuing from junior high until the second semester of sophomore year. This smokeless war began with Ji-ran and ended with Chin Man. For some unknown reason, from junior year onwards, Chin Man no longer responded to Ji-ran's pranks. Every prank was skillfully resolved by Chin Man, and had no effect. Over time, Ji-ran found it boring and stopped the pranks. Without the role of mortal enemies, the two had no more interactions. Who would have thought that years later, after Chin Man went bankrupt, these two would end up in this kind of relationship? It was truly perplexing. Ji-ran said, "I just don't like him." "Is that a problem?" Chang Peng glanced at him. "He's bankrupt now. If you really want to torment him, there are plenty of ways. Why bother keeping him around?" Ji-ran didn't know how to explain. He couldn't say it was because of his drunken mistake, and he couldn't bring himself to end things with Chin Man, so he could only say, "What? I just feel like doing this." Chang Peng sighed. "Fine, fine. Then what do you plan to do next? Humiliate him in front of others?" "From what I saw that day, he doesn't seem to care about that. Otherwise, I'll teach you a method. First, make him fall for you. Then dump him. Finally, shoot a risque video and send it to his friends' phones. I heard you and Chin Man are close. I want you to convince him to join the company. If the conditions aren't satisfactory, we can negotiate." In the previous episode, Chang Peng whispered a bad idea to Ji-ran. If you want to torment him, first make him fall for you, then dump him. Finally, shoot a risque video and send it to his friends' phones. Ji-ran seemed shocked, his mind filled with images of Chin Man on top of him, covered in sweat. Releasing such a video might backfire. Thinking this, he unconsciously cursed. Seeing his silence, Chang Peng widened his eyes. "I'm joking. Don't actually do it. Even if Chin Man is bankrupt, he still has some connections." Ji-ran said, "Shut up. I didn't take it seriously." After sending Chang Peng away, his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw it was Ji Gojung. Ji-ran arrived at the Ji family's old house. In the study, a middle-aged man sat at the desk, wearing a suit and glasses. Looking elegant, Ji-ran entered, and Ji Bajung, without looking up, said, "You're here. Sit." Ji-ran sat on the guest sofa, putting on a casual air. "Did you need me for something?" Ji Gojung finished reading the report in his hand and finally looked up. "I heard from your cousin that you and Chin Man are close. How could you serve instant noodles to a guest?" Mentioning that night, Ji-ran's heart skipped a beat. "That's enough," Ji Gojung interrupted. "Chin Man is a rare talent. Many companies are vying for him. I called you here to convince him to join our company." Ji-ran was stunned. "You want to recruit him for Yangshi?" Yangshi was one of Ji Gojung's businesses. Ji Bajung took out a document from the drawer. "These are our terms. Show it to him later. If he's not satisfied, we can adjust." Ji-ran almost laughed. Yangshi was a well-known old enterprise in the country. Now Ji Bajung was willing to lower himself to hire a young man whose family just went bankrupt. Ji-ran said, "If you want my help, at least explain the situation clearly. Why must you hire him? Ji Bajung didn't explain. Just do as I say. Ji Ran stared at his father for a long time, then laughed and took the document. Fine, I'll give it to him. But I only see Chin Man once every 6 months. I don't even know when the next time will be. Ji Gojung picked up a business card. I've already arranged dinner for you. The address is on it. Ji Ran immediately recalled the phone call Chin Man received this morning. Without thinking, he refused. I won't go. Ji Bajung put his glasses back on. I'm informing you, not asking for your opinion. Also, you're not young anymore. You should gain some experience in the company. I'll have your brother arrange a job for you. Ji Ran wanted to refuse but swallowed his words. After a while, he smiled. Alright, what position do you plan for me? I won't be a teddy bear. Ji Ran was still a G after all. Ji Gojung naturally wouldn't make him a printer boy in the company. Don't worry, I've arranged everything. Someone will contact you soon. Alright, I have documents to review. You can go now. Don't forget to get your grandmother's gift from the housekeeper on your way out. Ji Ran waved his hand and left the study. That evening, in a private room of a Chinese restaurant, 3 people sat at a large dining table. The atmosphere was low. Ji Wei broke the ice. Zitang happened to be nearby, so I invited her over. You don't mind, right? Zitang had dressed up specially today, with carefully applied makeup. She blinked at Chin Man. If I'm interrupting your business talk, I can eat nearby. Chin Man's face showed no expression as he politely said, I don't mind. Zitang smiled and poured wine. Then let's continue our chat. Chin Man, I mainly wanted to discuss company matters with you this time. Before he could finish, the door of the private room suddenly opened. Ji Ran stood in the doorway, his eyebrows raised high. He smiled sarcastically. Good evening, everyone. Chin Man was just a bookworm in high school, ugly and unfashionable. How could he be good looking? In the previous episode, Ji Ran's father Ji Gojung asked Ji Ran to persuade Chin Man to join their family company. In the Chinese restaurant's private room, Ji Wei brought his cousin uninvited to have dinner with Chin Man. Just then, Ji Ran suddenly pushed the door open. Good evening, everyone. Seeing him, Chin Man's lips curled up almost imperceptibly, while Ji Wei's face immediately darkened. Zitang looked at them in confusion. They had agreed earlier that only the 3 of them would be at this dinner. Ji Wei had also just received his father's notification. He stiffly said, he happened to be nearby too. You don't mind, right, Chin Man? Chin Man looked at the person at the door and smiled. I don't mind. Why didn't you tell me you were coming tonight? Ji Ran sat down next to Chin Man and replied indifferently. Why should I tell you? Ji Ran spoke rudely to his elder brother. Ji Wei finished speaking with a blank expression. Returning to the previous topic, Chin Man, I don't need to introduce the company situation to you. You already know. As long as you're willing to come, the company won't treat you unfairly. Ji Ran found this kind of conversation so boring he wanted to sleep. He picked up his chopsticks and started eating, as if the people talking seriously beside him were just sharing a table. Chin Man listened quietly, occasionally nodding, but didn't express his stance. Ji Wei couldn't let it go. He talked a lot and even tried to toast with Chin Man. Chin Man glanced at the person pouring wine beside him and turned his head with a smile. Sorry, I have to drive later. I can't drink. Ji Ran inwardly sneered. Drive? What car does he have? A shared bike? Ji Wei rambled on for 20 minutes before finally getting to the point. Chin Man, I sincerely invite you to join our company, to join my team. Chin Man looked up, about to say something. Ji Ran put down his chopsticks, turned to Chin Man, and rudely interrupted. Hey, are you joining Yangshi or not? Chin Man held back a laugh and asked, do I have to join? Ji Ran said. What do you think? Chin Man was silent for a moment, then pretended to be reluctant. Well, can I think about it tonight? Ji Ran thought for a moment. Alright, after all, there were others present, so Ji Ran couldn't pull rank as a sponsor. We'll discuss it later. That's fine too. The others watched their dialogue, somewhat gritting their teeth. At least don't mind him. He's usually a bit thoughtless. We've been talking for so long. You must be hungry. Let's eat first. Ji Ran figured he had said his piece, so his task was done. He planned to have a bowl of turtle soup before leaving. At this moment, cousin Shi Tang finally had a chance to speak. Brother Chin Man, when I was looking through school records earlier, I saw your thesis. I think it's excellent. Chin Man politely thanked her. Shi Tang, blushing, continued. I also watched your high school speech video. You spoke so well. You looked great in your school uniform too. The young girl's intentions couldn't be more obvious. Ji Ran, sipping his soup, coolly thought that his little cousin's taste seemed a bit off. Chin Man in high school was just a bookworm, ugly and unfashionable. How is that good looking? As he was thinking, Ji-ren suddenly felt an itch on his leg. Before he could react to what it was, the object slowly slid upwards, brushing against his calf through his trouser fabric. Two grown men eating instant noodles in a room. What exactly was their relationship? In the previous episode, Ji-ren suddenly crashed Chin Man and Ji-wei's dinner. Unexpectedly, during the meal, Ji-ren suddenly felt an itch on his leg. It turned out Chin Man was brushing against his calf through his trouser fabric. Ji-ren choked on his soup. He suddenly looked up, shocked, at the person beside him. Damn, Chin Man. While others were giving him subtle hints, he was flirting with his wife under the table. Chin Man smiled and handed him a napkin. Drink slowly, don't rush. Ji-ren quickly composed himself. He took the napkin to wipe, then moved his foot away and slightly raised it, firmly stepping on that shiny leather shoe. The sharp pain made Chin Man grip his chopsticks tighter. He thought to himself that he just wanted to tease his junior a bit. He didn't expect his junior to have such a temper. How cute. This dinner was too boring. Ji-ren suddenly stood up. The others immediately called out to him. Where are you going? You're a grown man now. Can't you even say goodbye to your elders properly? Ji-ren had originally planned to leave quietly without bothering anyone, but since Ji-wei insisted on arguing, he wouldn't be polite. They wanted to poach someone? He'd take the person away. Let's see how they'd manage then. Let these two siblings sit here and bond. He turned his head, ignoring Ji-wei, and looked at Chin Man instead. His tone was domineering. Hey, do you understand? Ji-wei frowned, about to say something, but Chin Man stood up first, interrupting him. I have something to do. Let's end it here for today. We'll meet again when we have a chance. Ji-wei was surprised to hear this. Chin Man had always known about the brothers' discord. His farewell now was basically equivalent to choosing sides. Realizing this, Ji-wei tried hard to control his facial expression, ensuring he wouldn't lose composure like at the engagement party. He looked back and forth between Ji-ren and Chin Man for a while, ignoring Shi Tang's anxious gaze, and forced a smile. I didn't expect you to still be such a busy person like before. Well, you can go then. We'll talk another time. After the two left, Shi Tang finally couldn't hold back. Brother, didn't you promise that Chin Man would send me home tonight? Why did you let him leave? Shi Tang picked up her wine glass and took a sip. He didn't want to stay. What could I do? Shi Tang said. Brother, were you really classmates with Chin Man before? I feel like Chin Man is more of Ji-ren's friend. Ji-wei didn't respond. His hand tightened on the wine glass. He thought to himself that he had kindly wanted to give Chin Man a good job, but this person kept siding with that bastard. If it weren't for the things Chin Man had, he would have fallen out with him long ago. But what puzzled him more now was, were Chin Man and Ji-ren's relationship really that good? As if thinking of something, Ji-wei suddenly looked up and asked, Tang Tang, what time did Ji-ren come out of Chin Man's room on the day of the engagement party? Shi Tang paused, biting her chopsticks as she thought. It was during jogging time, about 6 a.m. Ji-wei frowned. 6 in the morning. Two grown men gathering in a room to eat instant noodles. What exactly was their relationship? Babies, if you want to see more exciting content, please click on the app in the lower left corner. See how our dark horse conquers our male lead. I have professional ethics. I won't look for others. I'll call you to pick up your superior. After leaving the private room, Chin Man asked, where are you going? Let's have a late night snack. Chin Man opened the car door. Come with me. I have some work-related things I want to discuss with you. The car drove to an open-air barbecue restaurant. Ji-ren waved his hand. Boss, give me 30 skewers of lamb, 20 of beef, 5 chicken wings, and 5 leek skewers. After saying that, he looked at the person next to him. Chin Man said, didn't you already order? Ji-ren replied confidently. What I ordered is all for myself. Chin Man smiled and said, eating so much? But I don't see you putting on any weight. Ji-ren's ears turned red. What does it matter to you whether I gain weight or not? Eat if you want. Don't if you don't. After ordering, Ji-ren picked up the bottle opener and skillfully opened the cap. Do you want to drink? Chin Man shook his head. No, I have to drive later. Ji-ren handed him a bottle of beer. I can afford a designated driver. Chin Man smiled and said, if I drink, who will take care of you tonight? Ji-ren withdrew his hand, put the beer on the table, and said, who the hell needs you to take care of them? Tell me, what do you want to discuss? Chin Man said, about me working for your brother. Like hell you will. Ji-ren interrupted him. He said forcefully, you're my person. How dare you go work for him? Chin Man smiled. Your person? Ji-ren hesitated, then said awkwardly, I mean, I'm the one paying you. You should only listen to me. Chin Man smiled. You did pay me. In some aspects. I'll only listen to you, but not in everything. Ji-ren lowered his voice. Then I'm changing my mind now. I don't want you to follow me. Come work for my company. Chin Man shook his head. That won't do. I sell my body, not my soul. Besides, these two can't be equally exchanged. Jiran asked, what do you mean by that? It means, if I join Yangshi, the commercial value I could create in the company would be far more than the amount you've given me before. It's too much of a loss. I'm not willing. Jiran snorted. Aren't you overestimating yourself? Chin Man replied. Director Shane, I just have a full understanding of my own value. To be honest, none of the companies that have contacted me recently have offered a price lower than what you gave me. Jiran laughed mockingly. Well, that must be so hard for you. It's not hard. After all, you were the first to reach out to help me, so I'm willing to continue our relationship. Chin Man put his hand on Jiran's. But our agreement doesn't include me working for you, of course. I'm not completely refusing. If you really need me, I won't be heartless. Jiran swatted his hand away and said expressionlessly, get to the point. Chin Man smiled warmly. I can join Yangshi, but you'll have to pay more. Jiran rolled his eyes. He thought Chin Man was above this, but in the end, it all came down to money. So he said, fine. How much? Chin Man leisurely held up his hand. At least this much. Jiran almost choked on his beer again. Why don't you just rob a bank? Chin Man stood up, pretending to leave. Then forget it. I'll talk to your brother instead. Wait. Jiran took a few minutes to calm down. Money was just an external thing to him. Although the number Chin Man quoted was high, it wasn't completely unaffordable. It was just a matter of selling a few cars. The most crucial thing was, if he wanted to compete with Ji Wei and the company in the future, he might not be able to do it without Chin Man. Or at least he couldn't let Chin Man stand on the opposite side. Thinking of this, he directly pushed Chin Man back into his seat. Gritting his teeth, he said, it's possible, but I can't come up with that much money at once. You'll have to give me a few months. And this time, we must have a formal contract. Chin Man spoke in a businesslike tone. The interest on that much money in the bank for a few months is not small. Jiran got angry. Who can come up with that much money at once? Chin Man, don't push your luck. Chin Man smiled. Don't be angry. I've thought of another way. He sat up straight, slowly buttoning his suit jacket, and said, I'll give you a 50% discount on this amount. It doesn't matter when you pay, but you have to agree to 3 conditions. Jiran looked suspicious. He couldn't think of any conditions that would warrant a 50% discount. But before he could think further, Chin Man spoke. The first condition is, you have to take me with you whenever you go out. Jiran was stunned. His expression complicated. The second condition, I want to move into your room. Jiran's expression twisted. The third condition, I haven't thought of yet. I'll keep that in reserve for now. After a long silence, Jiran asked, Chin Man, do you think this kind of joke is funny? Chin Man looked serious. I'm not joking. Jiran looked confused. What would I take you out for? I find you and the people around you interesting. I want to interact more. Then why do you want to move into my room? Chin Man sighed helplessly, but the dimple at the corner of his mouth betrayed something. I promised you before that I wouldn't cheat on you, but I'm an adult man. I have needs too. You keep leaving me hanging. It's hard for me too. Jiran looked shocked. Chin Man continued. It's been so long since the engagement party. Don't you have those kinds of needs? He paused for a moment, then asked seriously. That's not right. I saw that you should be quite normal. It's not normal at all. Jiran lost his appetite for the barbecue. His face felt hot. How about this? I'll allow you to find someone else. Is that okay? Chin Man smiled at him. No. I have professional ethics. I only want you. The wild tiger said. Who has a good relationship with Chin Man? In the last episode, Chin Man told Jiran, I have professional ethics. I don't want anyone else. I only want you. At this moment, the owner brought the remaining skewers. Hello. Your order is complete. Jiran was brought back to reality. After the owner left, he finally regained some sense. He said coolly, are you itching for a beating? Or is idiot written on my face? I pay you. And I still have to share half my bed with you? Who's the sponsor here? You or me? Chin Man observed. It's fine if you don't want to. We can continue with our previous agreement. After all, you still have the initiative. Jiran picked up a lamb skewer and took a big bite. If so many companies are trying to poach you, why don't you go work for them? I don't know how much debt your company has, but it could at least fill some holes, right? So you won't have debt collectors coming to your door. Chin Man said, I plan to rest for a while. I don't want to work right now. Besides, that debt collection company has been getting worse lately. They've added a lot of interest, and I'm not happy about paying. I won't give them money until we reach an agreement. Jiran sneered. That's why they say debtors are the masters. Chin Man wiped his mouth for him. smiling without a word. Learning from the previous 2 lessons, Jiran only had a few drinks tonight, but he was still tipsy. He put down his glass and after a while said, "You're right. Give me a few days to think about it." Chin Man raised an eyebrow. "Afraid I'll take advantage of you?" Jiran raised his voice demonstratively. "I'm a grown man. What's there to be afraid of? It's just that your price is too high. I need to evaluate it. I don't want to make a losing deal." Chin Man smiled. "Alright, I'll wait for you." As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Jiran take out his car keys and slap them on the table. "Take these. When you drive out in the future, don't let the neighbors see you taking public transport from my house. You have no shame. But I do." Chin Wan. Taking public transport isn't that bad. Jiran directly covered his mouth with a skewer of grilled meat. "Just take it when I tell you to. Why so much nonsense?" The next day, Cheng Peng casually threw the basketball onto the court, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and asked, "Did Chin Man personally offer you this price?" Jiran lazily sat on the spectator stand and nodded. "Do you think he's worth it?" Yu Wenwen exclaimed from the side. "Indeed, it's love. I've never seen such an expensive duck before." It was clear he hadn't been listening carefully to their conversation earlier. Jiran glanced at him sideways. "Focus on your phone. Don't interrupt when adults are talking. Speaking of which, I've recently met many muscular guys. Want me to introduce you to some?" Before Jiran could speak, Cheng Peng intercepted. "You'd better keep them for yourself. He likes the slim type." Seeing the topic going off track, Jiran threw a bottle of mineral water. "Get lost. Answer me quickly." The price Chin Man quoted. Cheng Peng caught the water. "With this price, you still need to consider? Do you know how in demand Chin Man is now? As far as I know, there are no less than this many companies wanting him. The conditions they offer are not bad either." Jiran became more curious. "Is he really that good?" Cheng Peng nodded. "His personal ability is the strongest in our generation. It's said that when he just started university, his first deal was already 8 figures. It only got better after that." Jiran remembered the money he had transferred to Chin Man before, and suddenly felt a bit foolish. Cheng Peng took a sip of water and continued, "But his high demand is also said to be because his father left him quite a bit of land. These years, development is happening everywhere. Just throwing out one piece is enough to make those companies fight over it." After listening, Jiran scoffed. "Are you exaggerating? Why not say Chin Man is a god descending from heaven? A war god in the world? If Chin Man hadn't been crying poor in front of him every day, so broke he had nowhere to live and was being chased for debts, he might have believed it. I've only heard about it. My dad doesn't want to get involved in the competition, so I didn't look into it carefully." Then he changed the subject. "But why is the price he quoted you so low? Looks like you two are getting along well." Jiran remembered Chin Man's words from last night. His Adam's apple bobbed slightly. "Don't talk nonsense. Who's getting along well with him? We just have a normal sponsorship relationship." Cheng Peng waved his hand. "Alright, whatever you say. If you ask me, you should quickly settle things with Chin Man. It would be a huge loss if someone else snatches him away." Jiran irritably ran his fingers through his hair. "Fine. I'll think about it some more." At this moment, Yu Wenwen came over and suddenly said, "By the way, Xiao Ranran, there's a car racing competition coming up. The prize is a signed handkerchief from your idol Chester. Are you interested?" Jiran was stunned. Before he could speak, Cheng Peng frowned and said, "That competition is organized by GUJ. There must be some tricks." "Forget it, Jiran. It's just a handkerchief. If you want one, I can help you find a way to get another one signed later." Jiran shook his head. "It can't be signed. Chester died in an accident during a race a few years ago. He was famously low profile when alive, rarely even giving interviews. His signature is hard to get even with a lot of money." "Alright." Jiran stood up and said to Yu Wenwen, "I blocked GUJ before. Help me sign up." Yu Wenwen asked, "Really sign up? I feel like he's organizing this competition just for you." Jiran patted the dust off his clothes. "That's even more reason to participate. I need to beat that bastard so he won't dare to prance around in front of me in the future. You don't want me, but you won't let me find someone else. Where's the logic in that?" When Jiran got home, no one was there. His phone in his pocket made a beeping sound. Several text messages suddenly popped up. It was an unknown number. "What conditions did you offer Chin Man privately? He said he's waiting for your answer." "What does that mean? Don't interfere in this matter anymore. The company's affairs have nothing to do with you." Jiran quickly realized the messages were from Ji Wei. Damn, Chin Man actually went to negotiate terms with Ji Wei again. So without thinking, he directly called Chin Man. "Didn't I say I needed some time to consider? What do you mean by immediately going to talk to Ji Wei? You think I can't afford that money, huh?" The person in front gave a questioning look. Chin Man cleared his throat softly, made a gesture, and went outside. He wasn't worried that Jiran couldn't afford the money, but rather that he wouldn't be willing to pay. In a quiet place, Chin Man said, "I didn't contact Ji Wei. He called me on his own. I was waiting for your decision, so I didn't agree." Jiran only then realized he had been a bit too nervous. He simply said helplessly, "No good. You're not even allowed to answer calls." Chin Man smiled helplessly. "You don't want me, but you won't let me find someone else. Where's the logic in that? Who said I don't want you?" The other end suddenly went silent. Chin Man smiled and snorted. Jiran irritably pushed his bangs back, closed his eyes, frowning, and said, "We're just in an employment relationship. Can you not say it so mushily? At 10, I'll have someone prepare the contract. Just get yourself ready and prepare to work your ass off for me." Chin Man's expression didn't change. Not surprised by this result, he smiled gently. "All right, I'm ready anytime." After hanging up, Chin Man returned to the room. "Sorry, I had to take a call." Sitting across from him was a man also in a neat suit. Chin Man's former assistant at the company, Lu Chen. Lu Chen spread out the documents. "I've personally inspected all the properties you gave me. I think these 3 are good. The first is in the city center, with high floors, but it's a bit expensive. The second is by the sea, not low floors, with good landscaping around. The last one is in a somewhat remote location, but the area is large and cheap." Chin Man took the documents. He stopped at the second picture of the sea view. "Let's go with this one." Lu Chen didn't expect him to decide so quickly and was a bit stunned. "You've decided already?" Seeing Chin Man nod, Lu Chen smiled. "Looks like you really like the ocean. I'll go finalize it with them then." "And about the name?" Chin Man interrupted him. "We'll talk about that later," Lu Chen said. "But for registration, we need to decide on a name first." Chin Man smiled. "Lu Chen, I know better than you. I mean, we won't register for now." This didn't align with what they said last month. Lu Chen anxiously took back the documents. "Then this piece of land," Chin Man said. "Buy it first. Report all procurement situations to me. For the rest, wait for my notice. I have some personal matters to attend to for a while. I'll continue to pay your salary during this time." Lu Chen nodded. "All right, I'll go take care of it." Chin Man stood up. "If there's nothing else, I'll be going," Lu Chen quickly said. "Then I'll see you out." Chin Man waved his hand. "No need. I have my own car." Lu Chen thought of the flashy orange Ferrari at the entrance and stood there stunned, full of shock and doubt. When did his boss's taste change? After hanging up, Jiran changed into pajamas and lay on the bed. Thinking about what just happened, he sighed heavily. Damn, impulsive spending again. He should have blacklisted Chin Man's number. At least he would have had some buffer time. Besides, other things at least have a return function. How can he return Chin Man? Even if he could, he wouldn't have the face to do it. Thinking about this, Jiran became more irritated, so he took out his phone and sent a message to Yu Wenwen. Recommend some TV shows or movies to me. Something funny. Okay, Xiao Ranran. Wait a moment. Share link. Dreammaker Season 4. Episode 4. Jiran didn't look at the title carefully and just clicked in. 100 to 50 elimination. The battle of wits begins. After watching for 3 minutes, Jiran fled as if escaping. I asked you to recommend comedies. Why did you send 100 men over? Yu Wenwen looked innocent. There are 100 men here trying to make you laugh. It's practically heaven. Isn't that enough? By the way, that cool handsome guy number 56, with the looks of a neighborhood boy but the heart of a little brother, Xiao Ranran, quickly help me vote. VIP accounts can vote 10 times. Love you. Get lost. Send me these again and I'll have someone eliminate this little idol. Jiran sent a threatening message, then fiercely clicked into the voting link and viciously cast 10 votes for Yu Wenwen's favorite little idol. How about this? Before signing the contract, I'll just sleep in your bed. Nothing beyond sleeping. In the last episode, Jiran wanted Yu Wenwen to find comedies. Instead, Yu Wenwen sent him a variety show with 100 people battling it out and asked him to vote for her little idol. Looks like he can't count on Yu Wenwen. Jiran resignedly opened the video app, randomly clicked on a Western movie, and started watching it on his pillow. Soon, he was yawning continuously and his eyelids started to droop. After an unknown amount of time, Jiran was awakened by several explosion sounds. He instinctively said, "Who the hell is setting off fireworks in the villa area?" As he finished speaking, he looked up to see Chin Man standing by the bed, one hand still supporting his neck. "Chin Man, why are you here?" Chin Man, who had originally intended to help Jiran put his head on the pillow, Didn't expect him to suddenly wake up and also looked embarrassed. Ji-ran suddenly sat up. Fuck, who let you into my room? You scared the shit out of me. Chin Man casually withdrew his hand and smiled. I knocked, but you didn't hear. Ji-ran saw the tattered duffel bag and a pillow at his feet. He said in an unfriendly tone, "What are you doing here?" Chin Man smiled. "Didn't we agree in the contract? I'll be sleeping in your room from now on." Ji-ran instantly became alert. The contract hasn't been signed yet. You're not sleeping here. Get lost. Chin Man, how desperate are you? Chin Man thought for a moment, then consider it a deposit. It would be troublesome to pack everything up again. Ji-ran cursed. Who cares if it's troublesome for you? Go back to your room to sleep. Chin Man lowered his voice to negotiate. How about this? Before signing the contract, I'll just sleep in your bed. Nothing beyond sleeping. If you agree, I'll help you once more with what happened at those villas before. Fuck, this man is unbelievably flirtatious. Ji-ran cursed inwardly, but he couldn't help recalling the pleasure from that night. He blushed involuntarily, his heart rate quickening. Ji-ran blurted out, "Who do you think you are? I could find someone better than you anywhere." Hearing this, Chin Man's smile instantly faded. Who's better than me? Let them come and compare. Ji-ran listened, dumbfounded. This guy was serious. It wasn't until his pajama pants were hooked open a bit that Ji-ran snapped back to reality. He instinctively slapped Chin Man's face hard with his palm. Stop it. I'm not in the mood for this now. If you want to sleep, then sleep. Don't mess around with me. Ji-ran thought it through. It's just moving in a few days early. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Besides, if he didn't want to do it, Chin Man couldn't force him. Seeing him compromise, Chin Man smiled gently and started taking things out of his duffel bag one by one. Ji-ran sat cross-legged on the bed, coldly watching him unpack. After Chin Man finished, Ji-ran frowned and asked, "You don't sleepwalk, grind your teeth, or snore at night, do you?" Chin Man raised an eyebrow. "How would I know? Didn't we sleep together before? Don't you remember?" "Who would remember that stuff?" Ji-ran turned his back to him and lay down. He pulled the blanket over himself and said fiercely, "Don't stick anything into my blanket while sleeping. If you wake me up, I'll kill you." Chin Man looked at his back, smiled, and answered, "Okay." Then he turned and went into the bathroom. He took a shower. When he came out, the person on the bed had changed position, facing him, mouth slightly open unconsciously. Chin Man quietly got into bed, lying on his side. He stared at his little junior for a long time. Ji-ran might not remember, but Chin Man did. When awake, the little junior was all bark and bite, but when asleep, he was incredibly docile. No bad habits at all, like a hedgehog with its belly exposed. Then he very naturally leaned down and kissed Ji-ran's nose tip. After a while, Chin Man turned off the lights. Just 5 minutes after closing his eyes, Ji-ran suddenly opened his eyes wide in the darkness. He took several heavy breaths. Fuck, he had just dreamed that Chin Man was kissing him. He even bit his nose. He looked at the person in front of him, still shaken. Logically, it's one thing to bother me when I'm awake, but to haunt my dreams too? Angered, he couldn't help but reach out from under the covers and pinched Chin Man's nose hard. Help me check if Shin Bian had any girlfriends or boyfriends before. The next morning, Ji-ran woke up early. He hadn't slept well all night. In his dreams, it was Chin Man over and over again. The worst part was, he even dreamed that Chin Man ate his nose. Ji-ran yawned as he went into the bathroom to wash up. He picked up his toothbrush and while brushing, examined himself in the mirror. He felt like there was something different about his eyes. As he was brushing, he suddenly reached out and grabbed Chin Man's toothbrush cup, throwing it hard to the other corner of his sink. Half an hour later, Yu Wenwen sat in the corner of the gym, drowsy. "Xiao Ranran, you're so cruel. I skip work every day because I don't want to get up early, but you drag me here at the crack of dawn to waste time." Ji-ran said, "I think you're too idle. Didn't you used to like coming here?" Yu Wenwen looked around the empty gym and emphasized weakly, "I like gyms with muscular men, not gyms at 8 in the morning." As she spoke, she seemed to remember something. "Oh right, why hasn't Xiao Manman been hanging out with you guys these days?" Ji-ran's wiping motion paused. "What's he doing? Who was it that ran away as soon as they saw him last time?" Yu Wenwen rested her chin on her hand. "Wasn't it because I made a drunken fool of myself in front of him? I was embarrassed. But Xiao Ranran, you've let Chin Man stay at your place, yet you still have the leisure to go out?" Ji-ran said. "What do you mean by that?" Yu Wenwen had a dreamy look. "If I had someone like Chin Man at home, I'd definitely make the most of every night. The king would never leave early from then on." This reminder made Ji-ran think of last night's dream again. Just then, Cheng Peng walked in. When it comes to troubling people, G-Ran is the best. Making me come here so early in the morning. He was holding a document folder and yawned. What's up? Get me a bottle too. Taking the mineral water Yu Wenwen handed over, Cheng Peng looked at the dark circles under Ji-Ran's eyes and said with a teasing face, looks like you've been enjoying your nightlife lately. You're so worn out. You must have had quite a night last night. Ji-Ran's face turned ashen. Screw you. I just didn't sleep well last night. Yi Wenwen immediately pounced over, her face full of gossip. Why couldn't you sleep well? Was Chin Man particularly cruel? Or did he pounce on you? Ji-Ran's face darkened. What the hell? It's just that there's suddenly a man sleeping next to me. It feels weird. Alright, Cheng Peng interrupted them, taking out a document and handing it to Ji-Ran. This is the supplementary agreement I prepared for you. Take it back to your lawyer. Ji-Ran took it and said thanks. Cheng Peng continued. Also, I found your agreement a bit strange, so I took the liberty to look into his family matters. They raised their eyebrows in surprise. And the results? Cheng Peng shrugged. Nothing surprising. His father really is bankrupt. They do have debts. His parents did go abroad. At their company, the most profitable deals in the past 2 years were all Chin Man's. You can tell his abilities aren't that great. Ji-Ran wasn't interested in these things. After a moment of silence, he suddenly asked, did he have any girlfriends or boyfriends before? When he didn't get a reply for a while, Ji-Ran turned his head in confusion. He was met with 2 meaningful gazes. Then he heard Yu Wenwen say teasingly, "Ah, little Ranran is so cute when he's jealous." What nonsense are you talking about? I just want to know if there were any other unfortunate souls that Chin Man clung to before. Yi Wenwen nodded, pretending to understand. I see. Ji-Ran looked exasperated. I swear. I see your face and I can't help but want to argue. Cheng Peng also teased from the side. I didn't check that, but if you're interested, you can just ask him casually. I'm not interested. Ji-Ran put away the document. Ending the topic, Ji-Ran played until midnight before going home. When he got home, he found that Chin Man was already asleep. He thought this was good, saving the effort of arguing. Plus, he hadn't slept well last night, so Ji-Ran felt sleepy almost as soon as he touched the bed. Just as he was about to fall into a light sleep, a large hand suddenly reached out. It wrapped around his neck directly. Daddy's sleeping. Be good and don't move around. In the previous episode, Ji-Ran was half asleep when suddenly a large hand reached out and wrapped around his neck. Ji-Ran suddenly became fully awake. Along with his temper from last night, Chin Man's palm suddenly moved upwards, touching Ji-Ran's face. He rubbed it a couple of times as if comforting him, mumbling meaninglessly, "Don't fuss." What the hell is Jiao Jiao? What did this guy call him? What's with Jiao Jiao? Before he could react, Chin Man's other hand rested on his head, gently rubbing it twice. He mumbled unclearly, "Hey." Ji-Ran belatedly thought that Chin Man might be dreaming about an ex. He didn't expect this guy to really have an ex named Jiao Jiao. Judging by the name, it should be a girl. Thinking about this, Ji-Ran suddenly realized a problem. Could it be that Chin Man was straight before? Before he could think it through, Chin Man suddenly moved closer. Pressing against the back of his neck, he suddenly said, "You changed your body wash." Although he knew it was pointless to argue with someone who was sleep-talking, Ji-Ran couldn't help but retort, "You changed your dad." After that, Ji-Ran struggled to get out of his embrace, but the other person used more strength. He tried to break free for a while but couldn't. Ji-Ran couldn't bear it anymore and raised his hand to wake him up, but Chin Man was one step ahead, pulling him back forcefully. The next second, Ji-Ran heard Chin Man's voice from above his head, "Jiao Jiao, be good. Daddy's sleeping." So this is how he played with his girlfriend. At this time, Chin Man's words carried a hint of threat. "If you move again, I won't let you play with little female dogs in the future." Ji-Ran was instantly speechless. In his mind, he immediately pictured Chin Man's ugly American bulldog. Jiao Jiao was indeed a pet's name, proportional to the owner's IQ. Ji-Ran sighed. It was too petty to argue with someone sleep-talking, so he withdrew his clenched fist. He struggled to break free from the other's embrace, then turned over. He forced himself to ignore the sound of breathing next to his ear. The contract was finalized in less than a week. Back home, Ji-Ran threw the contract on the coffee table. "Take a look and see if there's anything you want to add or change. If not, just sign it." Chin Man took the contract and slowly opened it. When his eyes fell on the name of Party A, he asked with a smile, "Party A is you?" Ji-Ran said. "Who else would it be?" he thought. If he let Chin Man sign as Party A, What was the point of all his efforts with the witnesses? Chin Man looked at it for nearly 10 minutes. Ji Ran got impatient, crossed his arms and asked, looking so carefully, "Afraid I'll trick you?" Before Chin Man could respond, he added coolly, "Well, you better look carefully. I've added a lot of unfair clauses in there. If you're afraid to sign now, it'll be too late later." Chin Man smiled, just turning to the last page of the contract. Partia had already signed Ji Ran's name. The handwriting was messy and casual, but not ugly. Chin Man methodically took out a pen from his suit jacket pocket, about to sign. Then, remembering something, he asked, "Those conditions we discussed aren't in here. If I sign this, you won't go back on your word, right?" Ji Ran snorted. "You think I'm like you unscrupulous businessmen? I keep my word." Chin Man didn't argue. Instead, he directly signed his name in a few strokes where it said Party B. Then he handed the contract back. "Pleasure doing business with you." Ji Ran snorted inwardly, as if it could be pleasant. Ji Ran snatched the contract and stood up to leave. He walked to the garage, hearing footsteps. He knew Chin Man was following behind. Before opening the car door, he couldn't help but turn around, looking at the person behind him with exasperation. "Why are you following me?" Chin Man smiled. "We just talked about this, and now you're going back on your word?" Ji Ran leaned against the car door. "You're a grown man. Don't you have anything else to do? Have you even looked at Yangshi's files? How much do you know about the company? I don't want to spend so much money only to end up hiring a useless person." "Don't worry. I understand Yangshi's current situation even better than you. Your father is currently in charge of the company, although he said at last year's executive meeting that he would delegate power to you. In reality, you won't get many projects. The company still has several old-timers, two of whom have close relationships with you. If you enter the company, you'll definitely face difficulties from them," Chin Man slowly explained, speaking for nearly 10 minutes. Then, looking at Ji Ran who was listening intently, he said, "I'll explain these things to you clearly in the future. The current environment and occasion don't seem suitable for discussing these matters." Ji Ran had started investigating Yangshi because of a certain incident 2 years ago, but what he found was far less than what Chin Man knew. Chin Man even knew the details about clearing out those stubborn old-timers in the company. Thinking of this, he hid the surprise in his eyes. He pressed the unlock button on the car door and said to Chin Man, "Get in the car. I want to wait for you, and I'm enjoying watching. Why should I leave?" In the previous episode, after Ji Ran told Chin Man to get in the car, he drove to a repair shop. Chin Man wasn't particularly obsessed with cars and rarely came to such places. When they arrived, they found Yu Wenwen and Cheng Peng already waiting there. Ji Ran asked, "Is everything ready? Have you checked?" They were all old acquaintances, so everyone spoke casually. Cheng Peng waved his hand. "It's all done. Perfect." Yu Wenwen paused her talent show on her phone and greeted the newcomers with a smile. "Little Man, why are you here too?" "Hello." Chin Man smiled. "By the way, I'm sorry about last time. Is your hand still hurting?" This gentle statement immediately touched Yu Wenwen's heart. It stopped hurting long ago. Saying this, she pulled over an empty chair nearby and warmly said, "Come, sit here." Ji Ran turned his face away in displeasure. This hypocritical smile could only fool Yu Wenwen. Chin Man said thanks and sat down confidently. He asked, pretending not to know, "Are you all here to repair cars?" Yu Wenwen shook her head. "No. It's because little Ranran has a race coming up, so we're here for a car check." Ji Ran stood up in pain. "Why are you telling him so much? I'm going to change clothes." After Ji Ran left, Chin Man asked as if to confirm, "What kind of race is it? Is it private?" Cheng Peng said, "Not really private. GUJ put his name on it. It's an official track." Hearing GUJ's name, Chin Man's index finger, casually resting on his leg, tapped twice lightly. He suddenly asked again, "Is Ji Ran good at driving?" Yu Wenwen looked up from her phone. "Of course. Many clubs have tried to recruit him." She gave Chin Man a look. "Don't tell me you haven't seen little Ranran race yet." He really hadn't? Chin Man suddenly became curious. He couldn't help but glance at the race car parked in the middle of the yard. Yu Wenwen enthusiastically said, "Come on, let's go wait for him at the starting line. Today, we'll let you see for yourself." Because the race was approaching, Ji Ran had booked a track for training today. Chin Man soon saw what Ji Ran looked like when racing. Ji Ran's racing suit was black and red, without any extra brand logos. Compared to his car, it was much plainer. The only decoration was a flame pattern on the back. The suit outlined his slender figure, broad shoulders, and narrow waist, quite pleasing to the eye. When Ji Ran came out in his racing suit, Chin Man couldn't take his eyes off him for a long time. Soon, his gaze was noticed. Ji Ran met his eyes and asked warily, "What are you looking at?" Chin Man said sincerely, Looking at how good you look, Ji-ran rolled his eyes. Stop flattering. He put on his helmet and said irritably, I don't know how long I'll be driving today. If you get bored waiting, just go home. No one's forcing you to sit here. Chin Man looked at him. I'm not leaving. Be careful. Ji-ran laughed. What? Are you going to tell me to drive slowly too? I won't. Chin Man was about to say something else when his phone in his pocket rang. He took it out and looked at the caller frowning slightly. The caller was Shi Tang. He didn't know where she got his number from. She had been trying to meet him these past few days, asking for help with many trivial matters. He had refused countless times, but she only became more persistent. He frowned, took the phone, and moved away to answer. The girl's voice on the other end was cautious, with a hint of hope. Brother Chin Man, are you free today? There's a new Western blockbuster movie out. Are you interested? Chin Man's voice was flat. Sorry, I have something to do today. Shi Tang gathered her courage. Oh, I see. May I ask what it is? Chin Man looked at the car not far away and replied concisely. I'm accompanying my partner today. The other end was silent for a full half-minute. Shi Tang finally said in shock, You have a girlfriend? But my brother said you didn't. Chin Man interrupted her. I've rarely been in contact with Ji Wei since graduation. He might indeed not know. The implication was that he wasn't very familiar with Ji Wei either. Shi Tang's face turned red with embarrassment, feeling both upset and unwilling. It's okay. If he's coming, I can book 2 movie tickets. Chin Man remembered Ji-ran's warning look earlier and smiled, lowering his head. No need. He doesn't like me getting too close to others. In the future, if you have any urgent matters or need help, I suggest you contact Ji Wei directly. He'll help you. After saying this, Chin Man hung up and returned to the rest area. Cheng Peng was sitting on the sofa. You're back. Ji-ran just finished a lap. Chin Man looked at the screen in front and couldn't take his eyes off it. One of the in-car cameras was placed near the steering wheel. Ji-ran was wearing a helmet, his entire face covered, only his eyes visible. He had long eyelashes, and his deep amber eyes narrowed slightly. The camera caught his unruly gaze. Cheng Peng suddenly spoke. Looking at him like this, Ji-ran is really good looking. Chin Man withdrew his gaze and turned to give Cheng Peng a cold look. His eyes were cold and vigilant, like a beast whose territory had been invaded. He was completely different from the gentle and obedient lover he was in front of Ji-ran. Cheng Peng felt a chill down his spine from the stare. He was about to say something to ease the tension, but when he looked back, he found Chin Man's expression had returned to normal, as if the earlier exchange had been Cheng Peng's imagination. Cheng Peng couldn't help but take a deep breath, suddenly feeling worried about his friend's future. Ji-ran practiced until evening. Cheng Peng and Yu Wenwen had left early. After booking the venue for the next few days with the manager, he walked towards the rest area. Seeing that Chin Man was still there, Ji-ran choked, covering his mouth and coughing heavily. Why are you still here? Didn't I say you could leave anytime? Chin Man gently hooked Ji-ran's hand, looking at him with deep, focused eyes. I enjoyed watching. Why should I leave? Besides, I wanted to wait for you. I just helped you take off your clothes. Didn't do anything else. Don't be afraid. In the previous episode, Ji-ran told Chin Man to go back if he had to wait too long. But unexpectedly, Chin Man waited until the practice ended. He looked at Ji-ran seriously and said, I enjoyed watching. Why should I leave? I just wanted to wait for you. Ji-ran's neck stiffened. Damn, what kind of flirty talk is this? Then Chin Man continued, sitting for so long. Is your waist sore? Until Chin Man mentioned it, Ji-ran hadn't noticed. His waist was indeed a bit sore now. He really wanted to lie down. It had been a long time since he'd stayed in a car for so long, and he wasn't used to it, but he still stubbornly said, It's not sore. Wait a bit, I'll go change clothes. Ji-ran changed and walked out of the rest area. Chin Man naturally opened the driver's door. I'll drive. You rest for a while. Ji-ran suddenly felt that this kind of attentiveness was quite nice. He really didn't want to drive slowly home now. The racetrack was quite far from his home. At Ji-ran's driving speed, it would take at least half an hour. Ji-ran sat in the passenger seat, fastened his seatbelt, reclined the seat, and fell asleep before the car even started moving. There was no music playing in the car. After driving for a while, Chin Man heard steady breathing from beside him. At a red light, Chin Man stopped the car. He turned to look at the person next to him. For comfort, Ji-ran's face was slightly tilted towards the car window. His nose bridge formed a beautiful line in the darkness. Just a while ago, he was racing on the track, and now he was sleeping defenseless beside him. Chin Man couldn't help but reach out and lightly brush Ji-ran's nose bridge. Ji-ran was sleeping deeply, not even feeling the tickle. He didn't move at all. As night fell, The weather turned cool. Chin Man stared at him for a while, then took off his own jacket. He gently covered Ji-ran with it. Ji-ran slept dreamlessly, very soundly. He slept until he woke up naturally. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was Chin Man's face. They were very close. If he moved forward a bit more, their noses might touch. Ji-ran's mind went blank for a few seconds. He immediately moved back a little. To be honest, although he disliked Chin Man, the man's features were indeed flawless, deep-set and three-dimensional, very much like a mixed-race person. He sat up, about to check the time on his phone, when he was startled by a sudden ache in his waist. Ji-ran belatedly lifted the blanket to look at himself, then widened his eyes in shock. He was wearing nothing but underwear. He usually didn't like wearing pajamas to sleep. No wonder he slept so comfortably tonight. Ji-ran angrily pinched Chin Man again. After a while, the man beside him finally opened his eyes. Having difficulty breathing, Chin Man raised his hand to grab Ji-ran's wrist, his voice carrying the unique laziness of just waking up. "What's wrong?" Ji-ran cursed. "Where the hell are my clothes?" Chin Man found it amusing. "Aren't they on the hanger? I'm asking why they're not on my body." "You idiot." Chin Man rubbed his eyes and said, "Your clothes had stains, probably from the repair shop. I was afraid they'd dirty the bed, so I took them off for you." Ji-ran didn't say anything. He was checking if any part of his body felt hot. The last time he woke up feeling like he'd been beaten had left quite a psychological shadow. Seeing Ji-ran silently examining his body, Chin Man couldn't help but laugh. "I only helped you take off your clothes. Didn't do anything else. Don't be afraid." "Who's afraid? I'm not afraid of shit." Ji-ran got out of bed. He took clean clothes from the wardrobe, preparing to take a shower. "If you dare to do anything weird while I'm asleep, I'll sue you until you're penniless." Chin Man sat up straight, shrugging indifferently. "I'm already penniless." This attitude of giving up left Ji-ran speechless, so he didn't bother arguing and turned to enter the bathroom. On Ji-ran's fourth day at the racetrack, he received a call from Ji Go-jung, asking him to come to the company. When Ji-ran arrived, Ji Go-jung got straight to the point. "When did you sign the contract with Chin Man? Why didn't the legal department notify me?" Ji-ran laughed. "Chin Man signed the contract with me personally. It has nothing to do with Yangshi." Ji Go-jung was stunned, then lightly hit the table. "Do you know how complicated contract details can be? Any clause could set countless traps for you. Where's the contract? Let me see it." Ji-ran raised an eyebrow. "I had a lawyer look it over. The contract is fine. Besides, even if there were any issues, it wouldn't implicate Yangshi. You don't need to worry." Ji Go-jung quickly realized, "You did this on purpose. You're using work matters to spite your brother." Ji-ran didn't bother explaining further and simply pushed the blame onto Chin Man. "I wouldn't dare. It was Chin Man who didn't want to involve Yangshi. I had to persuade him for a long time to keep him." Ji Go-jung hadn't expected this turn of events, but anyway, Chin Man was still with them. Other matters could be dealt with later. After a moment of silence, he continued, "I've had the secretary prepare company materials. Take them back and study them carefully. Next month, start working in your brother's department. He'll teach you the rest. Also, you must dye your hair back." Ji-ran smiled. "If you're not worried about me and Ji-wei causing trouble, then go ahead and put me with them." Ji Go-jung's expression froze, but he finally compromised. "Then go back and wait for notification." Ji-ran was already used to this kind of formal talk. As he turned to open the office door, he seemed to remember something and looked back with a mischievous smile. "Also, I quite like this hair color. I won't dye it back for now." Unexpectedly, Chin Man had secretly threatened Ji-uj for Ji-ran's sake. "I advise you not to do anything out of line today. Otherwise, you might not like the consequences." The race was scheduled for the afternoon at a normally closed racing circuit. When Yu Wenwen arrived, she looked around and complained, "Ji-uj is too stingy. How can this small track satisfy our little Ran? Ji-ran, already wearing his helmet, replied, "It's a private race. This track is the best of the worst." Chin Man crouched down to check his earpiece and asked, "When does the race start?" Ji-ran answered, 3 o'clock. Then, as if remembering something, he added, "If Ji-uj gives you trouble later, just fight back. Don't be afraid." Chin Man said, "But I can't out-talk him." Ji-ran looked exasperated. "You seem quite talkative usually, never short of words. If you can't out-talk him, use your fists. You're grown up now. I shouldn't have to teach you this." Hearing this, Chin Man smiled. "Are you worried about me being bullied?" Ji-ran coolly replied. "You're overthinking. You're here with me today after all. Even when beating a dog, one must consider its owner." Just then, Ji-uj, already changed into his racing suit, walked over to them. His expression was normal, as if the conflict at the bar had never happened. There's a party tonight. Come straight there after the race. I've invited lots of handsome guys and beautiful girls. Guaranteed to be fun. Ji-ran couldn't be bothered to respond. I don't have time for some crappy party. Is that so? The Champions Award ceremony will be at the party. I thought you'd be interested. The implication was clear. If you want the prize, you have to attend. After saying this, Ji-J finally looked at Chin Man. Ah, Mr. Chin, I was a bit drunk that time at the bar. You haven't taken it to heart, have you? Chin Man's expression remained indifferent, a distant smile on his lips. He didn't respond. At this moment, an announcement came over the loudspeaker. The race will begin in 15 minutes. All racers please take your positions. Yu Wenwen came over to urge Ji-ran to get ready. Ji-J walked towards the restroom. Chin Man, watching his back, also said, I'm going to the restroom. After using the restroom and washing his hands, Ji-J was about to leave when he bumped into Chin Man at the door. He still remembered the loss he suffered at the bar last time, but he had important things to do today and didn't want to confront this person. So Ji-J put on a fake smile. What a coincidence. You're here to use the restroom too? Chin Man replied calmly. Not a coincidence. I came to find you. Ji-J was surprised. What for? I'm here to advise you. It's best not to do anything out of line today. Otherwise, you might not like the consequences. Ji-J found this strange. Ji-ran hadn't even threatened him. What was Chin Man's intention? Are bankrupt people so arrogant now? So his tone became unfriendly. Don't think you can be so brazen just because you have some dirt on me. Let me tell you, I'm not afraid of you revealing that matter. At worst, I'll just lose face, but you might suffer even worse consequences. Chin Man remained unfazed, smiling ambiguously. Make me suffer? You? Ji-J sneered. If I really wanted to do something, you think Ji-ran could stop me? Who do you think you are? The smile instantly vanished from Chin Man's face. Ji-J wanted to continue, but seeing Chin Man's gloomy expression, he was immediately silenced by the intimidating aura. He tried to maintain composure. What are you trying to do? Scare me? Do you know whose territory this is? Chin Man took out a tissue to wipe his hands, saying indifferently, I'm just giving you some friendly advice. Ji-J was puzzled. Advise me about what? Chin Man leisurely tossed the tissue aside. Then he walked up to Ji-J, patted his shoulder and said, don't cause trouble. It's good to be alive. With that, he left without looking back. When Chin Man returned to his seat, the race was already in the preparation stage. Yu Wenwen asked, where did you go? The race is about to start. Chin Man casually replied. The restroom was crowded. I had to wait in line. At that moment, the big screen showed Ji-ran's car. Suddenly, a wave of cheers erupted from the audience. Ji-ran glanced over and made eye contact with Ji-J. Ji-J nodded at him. As if greeting, Ji-ran stared at him for a moment, then gave him the middle finger. Chin Man couldn't help but smile watching the screen. After the race started, Ji-ran sailed smoothly, precisely navigating all the turns, leaving beautiful tire marks on the ground. He quickly entered the second lap. When the first lap data came out, Yu Wenwen exclaimed, wow, Ran's speed. He's a full 12 seconds faster than the second-place rookie. Chin Man was also somewhat surprised. It seemed Ji-ran indeed had the skills to join the club. Just as Ji-ran was about to take a turn, a car suddenly moved closer to Ji-ran's direction. During races, to prevent injuries, drivers must leave some space behind when turning to avoid collisions. Seeing this, Yu Wenwen's expression became serious. That's Ji-J's car. What is he trying to do? Chin Man pressed his lips tightly, focusing on the big screen. Fortunately, although Ji-J got close, Ji-ran instantly accelerated, not only beautifully overtaking Ji-J but also leaving him far behind. Yu Wenwen couldn't swallow this, standing up saying, I'm going to complain to the referee. This is against the rules. At this moment on the screen, Ji-J's car suddenly slowed down a bit while taking the next turn. Chin Man immediately grabbed Yu Wenwen. Wait, Ji-J wouldn't risk his own safety. He just wanted to scare Ji-ran. Unexpectedly, a few seconds later, he encountered Ji-ran again. This time, it was Ji-ran who squeezed towards him. Ji-J was startled and quickly turned the steering wheel. His car went straight onto the grass on the side. He slowed down and regained his composure, but by then he couldn't even see the back of Ji-ran's car. Chin Man's feelings were complicated. His little junior was indeed vengeful. Only he would dare such a dangerous act of revenge. Yu Wenwen thought it was so cool that Chin Man personally dealt with Ji-J for Ji-ran's sake. Such boyfriend material. The party venue was just at a bar. Ji-J not only invited the race participants but also many other men and women. On the way there, Chin Man didn't say much. As soon as they sat down, Yu Wenwen insisted on playing a drinking game with Chin Man. Jiran rolled his eyes, lit a cigarette, and watched the two of them. He thought this guy had been silent and angry the whole way, not saying a word, but now he's playing games with others. When Chin Man said he didn't know how to play, he wasn't being modest. Jiran found it curious that there was actually something Chin Man didn't know. After several rounds, almost all the alcohol went into his mouth. However, it was clear that Chin Man had an extremely high alcohol tolerance, showing no signs of drunkenness. As Jiran was watching intently, the annoying Guj sat down opposite him. Congratulations on winning first place. I didn't expect you were still practicing. I thought you had given up long ago. Jiran looked at him coldly. It's been a long time since I raced, but to beat you, a couple of days of practice is enough. You did win, but your little tricks have increased. Guj knew Jiran was referring to the incident on the track. His expression changed. I lost control of the steering wheel at that time. Jiran sneered. Don't pretend in front of me. Guj retorted. Didn't you pay me back too? Jiran sneered. That's because I showed mercy. If I didn't mind the trouble of dealing with you, I would have sent you to register in the underworld long ago. In car racing, deaths due to personal grudges were not uncommon. Guj's expression changed slightly. Finally, he said perfunctorily, fine, I was wrong. I've prepared the prize. Do you want to come with me to get it? Jiran was eager to get the gloves. He stood up, put out his cigarette, and followed Guj. Guj pushed the black box towards him, smiling kindly. Check it out. Jiran opened it and looked. Indeed, they were Chester Bennington's gloves. He had seen them on TV, custom made by many brands, one of a kind in the world. His expression softened slightly. He closed the lid and was about to leave. Guj quickly grabbed his shoulder. Hey, wait. He took 2 glasses of wine that were prepared in front of him and handed one to Jiran. He spoke sincerely. There was a misunderstanding between us before. Don't take it to heart. Drink this, and let's put the past behind us. What do you say? It's better to resolve conflicts than to keep them. We're both in this city, bound to run into each other. Why hold grudges? I heard you're joining your father's company. Maybe we'll even meet in business in the future. Jiran took the glass and swirled it gently in his palm. Seeing this, Guj immediately drank his own glass, quick and clean, not a drop left. Jiran hesitated, feeling something wasn't right. He slightly raised his hand. Before he could speak, Chin Man took the glass from his palm and held it out to Guj, smiling. Since you enjoy drinking so much, why don't you drink both glasses? Jiran frowned. Why did you come over? Chin Man chuckled. If I didn't come, I'm afraid the deal would be taken by someone else. Others might not understand, but Jiran instantly got it. He was already suspicious, and now he understood completely. He instinctively looked at Guj and saw him staring at Chin Man with a pale face full of hatred. Obviously scared, Jiran said, you put something in the wine. Guj pulled at his collar, forcing a smile and denying, I didn't. How could I do such a thing? Jiran looked disappointed. Then drink this wine. Guj's forehead broke out in sweat. He nervously said, I'm on medication. I can't drink anymore. I still have to watch later. Jiran understood everything now. He grabbed Guj's collar. Without thinking, he swung a punch at Guj's face. Guj was startled. Having drunk alcohol, his reactions were slow. He couldn't defend himself. Jiran seized the opportunity and pinned him to the ground. The second punch followed immediately. Yu Wenwen was shocked by this scene. She wanted to stop Jiran, saying, Ran, stop hitting him. But Jiran was too angry, and Yu Wenwen couldn't pull him away. Just as the third punch was about to land, Jiran suddenly felt his waist tighten. Then he was effortlessly lifted up, his feet leaving the ground. Chin Man carried him away and handed him to Yu Wenwen, instructing, hold him tight. Jiran was so angry he was flailing his arms and legs. Let me go. I must beat this bastard to death today. Guj felt unbearable pain. He wiped his nose and found blood. Fuck, you dare hit me? Before he could finish, Chin Man picked up the wine from the table, squatted in front of Guj, and asked in a low voice, what drug did you put in it? Guj still denied. I didn't put any drug in. As he struggled to get up, Chin Man suddenly grabbed his chin, forcing his mouth open. Before he could react, Chin Man, expressionless, poured the wine into his mouth. Everyone was shocked by this action. Even Jiran was stunned. Guj tried to spit out the wine. Fuck, Chin Man. I'll definitely kill you. Ji-ran came to his senses. Who the fuck are you trying to scare? Chin Man is my man. He took advantage of Yu Wenwen's distraction and pulled his hand free. Chin Man stepped in front of him first, blocking his way. Ji-ran angrily said, "Get out of my way. I must." Before he could finish, Chin Man unexpectedly bent down. He directly threw Ji-ran over his shoulder. Ji-ran struggled hard. "Damn it, put me down." Chin Man ignored the pain on his back, picked up the black box from the table, and said to Yu Wenwen, "Check if anything's damaged. Help pay for it. I'll transfer the money to you tomorrow." Yu Wenwen was dumbfounded at this point and could only nod. "Alright, did you secretly take care of it while I wasn't around? Goodness, what vulgar words." This seems to be heading towards the fast lane. In the last episode, at the party, Ji-Yu-J drugged Ji-ran's drink, but Chin Man ended up forcing it down Ji-Yu-J's throat. He threatened to make Chin Man pay. Hearing this, Ji-ran wanted to beat Ji-Yu-J badly, but Chin Man carried him on his shoulder and left the bar in front of dozens of people. "Chin Man, I'll die with you." At the car, Ji-ran had no strength left to struggle. He gave up fighting but still shouted, "I'll kill you." Chin Man responded with an and said matter-of-factly, "I just drank. You'll have to drive later. If you're still angry, we can go back now." Ji-ran obviously couldn't return after losing face like that. Seeing Chin Man get in the car, he got angrier. "Why did you stop me just now? Ji-Yu-J deserves to be beaten to death." Chin Man calmly replied, "There were people around. Did you want to be taken to jail? Besides, you poured the drink down his throat. If he dies from it, wouldn't we be responsible?" Chin Man said coolly, "It was probably an aphrodisiac. He wouldn't dare poison you. And that's his problem to worry about. He brought the drug. The police will find out easily." Ji-ran muttered after a while, "You didn't have to carry me out like that. Wasn't it embarrassing?" Chin Man didn't respond. The car fell silent. Ji-ran couldn't help but glance at him, seeing him staring ahead expressionlessly. 10 minutes later, they both calmed down. Ji-ran knew Chin Man was right, but he was too angry to control himself at the time. Remembering how he struggled on Chin Man's shoulder, he probably hurt him quite a bit. Ji-ran hesitated, then awkwardly said, "Thanks." Chin Man suddenly asked, "How old are you?" Ji-ran replied, puzzled, 24. "You're this old and still drink whatever others give you? You seem more like 12. No sense of caution. Seeking revenge without regard for your own safety. And always resolving things with fists." Ji-ran retorted, "How was I to know Ji-Yu-J was so perverted to drug another man?" Chin Man said flatly, "Anyone with a brain could see Ji-Yu-J was acting strange today." "Who are you calling brainless?" Ji-ran didn't expect his thanks to lead to a scolding. He sneered, "So what if I took the drug? Ji-Yu-J couldn't have taken me away. At worst, I'd be horny for a night. If necessary, I could pay someone to relieve me." Chin Man suddenly turned to look at him directly. "You have someone right in front of you. The question is, do you dare use him?" Ji-ran, still angry, was stunned by Chin Man's gaze. He paused before saying, "Of course I dare. Why do you think I'm paying you?" Chin Man's face remained expressionless. "Then use me. I'm not in the mood now." Ji-ran turned away, driving into the garage. "Not everyone's like you. Always thinking about that stuff." Chin Man replied calmly, "I think you're the one with the problem." Ji-ran retorted, "He has a problem? You're the one who's not good enough. What's wrong if I don't want to use you?" Chin Man's expression darkened. "I'm not good enough? Then why did you hire me?" Seeing Chin Man's face, Ji-ran knew his words had an effect. He continued, "I only realized the quality was poor after ordering. Who knew you were all show and no substance?" Remembering the aftermath of their first time, Ji-ran felt he was speaking the truth, so he spoke confidently and firmly. He expected at least a big argument in the car, but Chin Man was silent for a few seconds, then unbuckled his seatbelt and got out, leaving Ji-ran stunned in the driver's seat. Ji-ran rubbed his hair frustratedly, feeling his head was hot. He wondered why he was arguing with Chin Man about this. After getting out, he didn't rush inside but went to the yard to cool off. Then Yu Wenwen called, Ran, I've handled everything at the bar. Are you okay? Home yet? What could happen to me? What about that bastard Ji-Yu-J?" Yu Wenwen hesitated before answering. His friends took him away. Don't know if to the hospital or to find a woman. Turns out it really was that kind of drug. Ji-ran's anger flared up again. Help me find out which hospital or hotel he's at. Yu Wenwen was surprised. Why? I want to castrate him. Yu Wenwen hadn't seen Ji-ran this angry in a long time. She quickly advised, please calm down. When Ji-Yu-J left, he kept threatening to destroy Chin Man. Ji-ran exploded. You think I'm afraid of him? Yu Wenwen said gently. Of course you're not afraid, but you know Chin Man's situation. Guj's family has some background, Ji-ran interrupted. Even if Chin Man became a beggar on the street, Guj couldn't touch a hair on his head. I've got things to do. Bye. Ji-ran returned to the room to see Chin Man walking out of the bathroom wearing only shorts. The man's muscular body was exposed, still covered in water droplets. Ji-ran glanced and quickly looked away. Stay home for a few days. Guj likes underhanded tactics. He resents you now and might try something. I'll resolve everything as soon as possible. It shouldn't take long. Before he finished speaking, Chin Man grabbed his shirt. The next moment, Ji-ran was pushed onto the sofa. He instinctively tried to get up, but Chin Man's palm pressed firmly on his chest, pushing him back down. Chin Man leaned over him. I told you, I have needs too. I've been holding back because of your racing practice. Now that it's over, you should fulfill the condition you promised me earlier. Chin Man's breath fell on his ear. Ji-ran felt his heart pounding. He pushed against Chin Man's hands. I'm the one paying. Of course I decide when to fulfill it. What if you never want to fulfill it? Chin Man said. Then suddenly seemed to realize something. It's been so long since we were at the villa. You can't have had no needs at all. Did you take care of it yourself while I was away? I'll give you one last chance. If you're satisfied, we can talk. If not, I'm out of here. Baby, this episode is moving fast. It might be taken down soon. Cherish it while you can. In the last episode, on the way home, Ji-ran deliberately provoked Chin Man, saying his technique wasn't good. Back in the room, Chin Man pushed him down and asked, It's been so long since last time. Have you done it yourself? Ji-ran's cheeks burned. That's none of your business. Chin Man frowned. Let me see, and reached down. Chin Man was very strong, one leg pressing him down. Ji-ran felt trapped in his arms. Finding he couldn't struggle free, he blurted out, No, I haven't done anything. Get off. Chin Man said confidently. Isn't this what you wanted when you hired someone? It's mutually beneficial. I won't hold you responsible. Why not? I'm fully prepared this time. Or you can be on top if you want. Chin Man's argument was flawless. Ji-ran couldn't find any reason to refuse. Chin Man released him, hands on the bed, and asked, Shall we continue? Ji-ran said hoarsely. What if I say no? You can't sue me for breach of contract. No. Chin Man looked at him seriously. I'll work for Warriors for a year. I'll return the money from the first agreement. After a year, the contract ends and we go our separate ways. Ji-ran breathed lightly, staring at him. Chin Man gazed at him for a long time, then suddenly lowered his head. Ji-ran had been preoccupied with racing for the past 2 weeks and couldn't resist this temptation. Besides, Chin Man's words made sense. They were both men. No one would lose out. Ji-ran raised his arm, hooking it around Chin Man's neck, stopping him from getting up. He said hoarsely, I'll give you one last chance. If you do well, we can talk. If not, you're back to sleeping in the guest room. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt a bite on his jaw. Chin Man increased the pressure, leaving teeth marks. Finally, the limited edition gift from Yu Wenwen came in handy. The bed creaked as they tossed and turned. 3 hours later, Ji-ran had no strength left. It was drizzling outside. Ji-ran lay motionless, listening to the rain. Chin Man stroked his hair, asking, Did it hurt this time? Ji-ran didn't answer. It didn't hurt. It felt good. He was physically and mentally satisfied. Just his legs were a bit sore. Half a minute later, Ji-ran sat up, planning to have a cigarette. He couldn't quite remember if it felt this good at the hotel. He was too drunk that day, only remembering how miserable he felt afterward. After showering, Chin Man sat beside Ji-ran and patted him. Ji-ran came back to his senses. Chin Man asked, Got another? Ji-ran glanced at him and handed over his half-smoked cigarette. Chin Man leaned slightly, taking it with his mouth. His lips brushed Ji-ran's fingertips. Nan kindly reminds you that smoking is harmful to health. Please don't imitate. He took a natural drag, then blew out smoke rings. In the dim light, the man's profile seemed sculpted, his face still showing traces of desire. Against the smoke, it was very alluring. Ji-ran swallowed. Even smoking could look so handsome. It was deadly. Suddenly, Chin Man spoke. How do you know Guj? When Ji-ran came out of the bedroom, his hair was messy and red marks trailed down his body, showing how intense last night had been. In the last episode, Ji-ran and Chin Man shared a cigarette after. Just as Ji-ran was mesmerized by Chin Man's smoking, Chin Man suddenly turned and asked, By the way, how do you know Guj? Ji-ran rolled back onto the bed. We were in neighboring classes in high school. Chin Man asked, Did he bully you before? Ji-ran laughed as if hearing a joke. No one could bully him. That's why he resorted to underhanded tactics. Chin Man put out the cigarette. Don't fall for it next time. Do you know why he drugged you? Ji-ren answered without thinking. Those drugs have side effects. He just wanted to see me make a fool of myself. I told you. Someone was recording. Chin Man's eyes darkened. They were using a professional camera. Do you think people bring that kind of equipment to clubs? They wanted to film you. Whether they put it online or send it to your family, you'd be in trouble. Ji-ren cursed. Fuck, why didn't you tell me earlier? Chin Man looked at him and sighed. What would you do if you knew? Go back and beat him up again? You're too impulsive. Ji-ren laughed. Then what should I do? Say it's okay and have a drink with him before leaving? Sensing Ji-ren's irritation, Chin Man decided to soothe him. You don't need to do anything. Guj has done enough shady things. He'll get what's coming to him soon. Ji-ren fell silent. He didn't want to discuss Guj in the middle of the night and stress himself out. Suddenly remembering something, he asked, by the way, now that you've moved in with me, what about your dog? Chin Man raised an eyebrow. You mean Zhao Zhao? Ji-ren was too tired to comment. He couldn't understand why Chin Man would give a male dog such a name. Chin Man replied, he's abroad with my parents. He paused. How did you know I had a dog? Ji-ren turned over and lay down. I didn't, just guessed. Chin Man's voice held a hint of amusement. Have you seen my moments? Ji-ren closed his eyes. Ignoring him, Chin Man leaned in closer. But I've only posted about him on moments. Ji-ren pushed his hand away. I said I didn't look, so I didn't. Are you going to sleep or not? If not, get out. Don't bother me. Yu Wenwen didn't sleep well all night. It had been a while since he'd seen Ji-ren hit someone, so the next day, he called Cheng Peng. Then the two went to Ji-ren's place. Yu Wenwen used the passcode to open the door. As soon as they entered, they heard faint sounds from the kitchen. He walked towards the living room with a bag. Xiao Ranran, I knew you wouldn't sleep well. I bought you some fruit. Want me to cut it for you? After saying that, he walked towards the kitchen. There he saw Chin Man cracking eggs. He was wearing a white shirt with a red rabbit apron. Wow, they had never seen him look so domestic. Cheng Peng started whistling. Yu Wenwen asked, where's Xiao Ranran? Not awake yet? Chin Man smiled. He's awake, brushing his teeth. Just then, Ji-ren came out of the master bedroom, hair messy, wearing only black boxer shorts. His body was covered in red marks. He was bleary-eyed and asked confusedly, what are you doing again? His voice was as hoarse as a broken gong, clearly showing how much he had exerted himself last night. An apple fell onto the carpet with a muffled thud. Ji-ren heard the sound and turned his head, meeting the gaze of the three on the sofa. The air instantly became silent. So you want to find another partner? I'm telling you, no way. The battle of that night truly embodied the saying, seize the day. Enjoy life to the fullest. In the last episode, Ji-ren, wearing only black shorts, casually pushed open the bedroom door. Unexpectedly, he saw Yu Wenwen and Cheng Peng standing in his living room. The air instantly fell into dead silence. After a moment of silence, he turned around expressionlessly. Before the three could react, he slammed the bedroom door shut. 5 minutes later, he came out wearing a shirt and asked the two, why are you here? Cheng Peng replied, we came to discuss how you plan to deal with Guj's matter. How to deal with it? Ji-ren had no idea. His throat was very uncomfortable. He casually took a spoonful of soup from Chin Man's hand and put it in his mouth, then asked, did he die from the poison? Cheng Peng shook his head. No, he left the hotel healthy this morning. Ji-ren frowned and asked the person next to him, is this all you can do? Can you stay away from the kitchen in the future? Chin Man took the spoon. I was afraid you'd be hungry when you woke up. What's missing? I'll add it. They were indeed hungry. Something was better than nothing. So Ji-ren reluctantly said, it needs more salt. The soup isn't thick enough. Remember to add some sesame oil for flavor. Chin Man nodded and went back to the kitchen. Yu Wenwen watched in amazement. This damned newlywed-like scene. Ji-ren turned to ask Cheng Peng, who was sitting on the sofa, who else was with Guj yesterday? Send me all their names. Cheng Peng smiled. How did you know I looked into this? I'll send it to you later. But what do you plan to do? Take revenge on each one? Do you have the energy for that? Ji-ren sighed. I don't have that energy. Can't I just hold a grudge? After speaking, he covered his mouth and coughed hard. Cheng Peng turned to ask Yu Wenwen, by the way, did you guys go to the second round yesterday? Yu Wenwen peeled an orange and put it in his mouth. Who had the mood for a second round? We went straight home. Why? Did you think we went to karaoke all night? Seeing how hoarse Ji-ren's voice is, Ji-ren got angry. You talk too much. Cheng Peng stood up and walked towards the kitchen. I'll go help. I'm hungry. After sitting for a while, Ji-ren couldn't hold back anymore. He bent over and coughed for a long time. Yu Wenwen immediately moved to his side and handed him the orange. He asked concernedly, Xiao Ranran, are you okay? Did you open the door to a new world last night? Was it really good? Did you use protection? Don't finish inside. It can easily cause stomach pain. Jiran looked at him and rolled his eyes. His throat was hurting badly now, and he was too lazy to explain. Besides, in his current state, he couldn't fool Yu Wenwen anyway. He might as well save his energy. Seeing him not speaking, Yu Wenwen said, I understand everything. Life should be enjoyed to the fullest, but you still need to take care of your body. Look how hoarse your voice has become. Jiran exploded. Say one more word and I'll kick you out right now. He then weakly rubbed his forehead, thinking that yesterday he indeed almost opened the door to a new world. So you want to find the Shah family? I'm telling you. No way. He pulled back his thoughts. He covered his throat, feeling it hurt even more. He thought to himself, men really never tell the truth in bed. Saying he'd take care of me, I'll never believe him again. Don't open the door for strangers. I'll be back early tonight. Be good. In the last episode, after a night of exertion, Jiran's voice was as hoarse as a broken gong. However, it wasn't entirely because of the bed. He had felt a sore throat coming on for the past 2 days. It just became more noticeable today. Last night's shouting in bed only worsened his condition. He snapped back to reality, seeing Chin Man walk out of the room. Back in his usual suit, he was visibly surprised. You're going out? Chin Man nodded. Meeting a friend. Don't worry. Guj won't dare bother me. Ji Ran said unnaturally. Who's worried about you? Chin Man tied his tie, walked to the sofa. I'll be back early. Don't open the door for strangers. Ji Ran was speechless. You think I'm a 3-year-old? Chin Man took out a thermometer from under his arm. 37.3 degrees. Still a low fever. Don't go out today. Take some medicine later. Jiran waved his hand, saying irritably, I know. Just go already. Chin Man ruffled his hair, chuckling. Wait for me to come back. After Chin Man left, Jiran had just lain down when his phone rang. He looked at it, an unfamiliar number. He answered, and a strange man's voice came from the other end. Is this Mr. G? Hello. I'm Shu Lin, your future work assistant at Yangshi. President G asked me to inform you that you'll start work next Wednesday. Are you free now? I've prepared a lot of work-related materials. If it's convenient, let's meet somewhere. Half an hour later, Jiran arrived punctually at the agreed restaurant. He wore a baseball cap and mask. Standing out in the crowd, Jiran looked up and saw a man sitting in the corner of the restaurant, wearing a light gray suit. He looked to be around 30, neatly dressed, with proper features, and a scholarly appearance. Shu Lin stood up and waved at him. Are you Mr. G? I heard on the phone that your voice didn't sound well, so I ordered you some green tea. If you don't like it, you can order something else. Jiran sat down, enduring the discomfort in his throat. No need. Where are the materials? Shu Lin handed them over. They're all here. These are what I've compiled over the past few days. See if there's anything missing. Jiran took them but didn't open them. Then asked, were you previously an employee at Yangshi? Shu Lin nodded. Yes, I was President G's assistant before. Jiran paused. President G? Ji Wei? Shu Lin smiled, showing no flaws. Yes, I left his department 3 months ago. Jiran found it amusing. You're quite honest. Did he send you to monitor me? Shu Lin was composed, not embarrassed at all. There's no point hiding these things. You'll find out once you join the company anyway. My work style didn't match with President G's, so I voluntarily requested a transfer to civil affairs through him. It's definitely not monitoring. Ji Ran, who was originally skeptical, found this interesting. He'd never heard of an ordinary employee requesting a transfer from the big boss because their work style didn't match with their superior. Ji Ran leaned back. I'm not asking for everyone's resume here. Shu Lin smiled. It's on the last page of the materials. Ji Ran opened it and looked. The resume was densely packed, clearly demonstrating his work ability. 7 years of employment, working under several bosses for 7 years. Even a dog would develop feelings after 7 years. He smiled mischievously, then closed the file. Alright, I think our work styles should match well. You can stay. Shu Lin played along with his joke. Thank you, Mr. G, for taking me in. I've also compiled the company's projects from the past 2 years and future development directions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. We can talk on the phone or meet in person. I'm available anytime. Jiran looked at this and thought Shu Lin was easier to get along with than he had imagined. He thought that even if he was sent by Ji Wei to monitor him, he couldn't rudely reject him. Just as he was about to say something, his phone suddenly vibrated. He opened it to see a WeChat message from Chinman. Did you go out? Jiren replied. None of your business. At this moment, Shu Lin's phone also rang. Seeing the caller his expression changed slightly. He stood up. Mr. G, I need to take this call. Jiren picked up the documents on the table. Don't bother. I don't have time today. Let's end it here. I'm leaving. Shu Lin hurriedly called out to him. But I still have some things to report. The phone kept ringing. Jiren found it headache-inducing. He pointed at the phone Shu Lin was holding. Either answer it or reject it. The ringtone is too annoying. We'll talk next time. Also, don't book this kind of tea restaurant in the future. I don't like drinking tea. It's too bitter. After saying this, he tucked the documents under his arm and strode out of the tea house. Shu Lin watched him leave, thinking that Ji Wei was right. His brother was indeed arrogant, disrespectful, and self-centered. It seemed his future work wouldn't go too smoothly, but it was still better than before. Jiren now desperately wanted to drink milk tea, feeling like the tea taste was lingering unpleasantly in his mouth. He drove back to his alma mater. The milk tea shop next to the school had been open for over 10 years. The owner was kind-hearted. Even after graduation, Jiren would still come here with Yu Wenwen every now and then for milk tea. Since it was school time, there weren't many customers in the shop. The owner's wife smiled warmly when she saw him. Little Nan, you're here. What would you like? Jiren sat in his usual spot, the same as before. The owner's wife was surprised. What happened to your voice? Jiren said it was just a slight cold. The owner's wife looked worried. Young people are so strong. How did you catch a cold? You should wear more clothes. I'll make your milk tea hot. By the way, why didn't Wenwen come with you today? He's too noisy. I didn't bring him, Jiren said, then rested his chin on his hand and glanced at the wall to his right. This wall was the treehole wall, covered with sticky notes. The shop had been open for 10 years, and even a large wall wasn't enough for all the notes. So, once the wall was full, the owner's wife would take down these notes and keep them safe. Every year, she would take some time to bring them out and put them back up. We must win the basketball game against Class 3 this time. Below this note were replies in different colored pens. Dream on. Class 3 will definitely win. Bunch of elementary kids. Jiren found it amusing. He pulled down his mask, took a breath of fresh air, and glanced at the corner. An ugly duckling type. The handwriting on the note was messy, showing that the writer wasn't in a good mood when writing it. Jiren's face suddenly turned red. His eyes widened. This seemed to be his own handwriting. Moreover, this note had the most replies, so even though the owner's wife had put it in the corner, it was still eye-catching. At least he's the school's heartthrob. Okay, you're the ugly one? Which toad wrote this note? Are you jealous? Hope you never get a girlfriend? I didn't write this. Whoever wrote this is an idiot. You're the idiot. Jiren cursed internally and angrily tore down the note. Chin Man asked helplessly, is your butt hurting again? Jiren exploded instantly. Your butt is the one hurting. Your whole family's butts are hurting. In the last episode, after meeting Shu Lin, Jiren came to the milk tea shop next to his alma mater and saw the sticky note he had written years ago. He tore down the note. The owner's wife saw this while bringing the milk tea and hurriedly said, Little Ran, you can't take that down. Jiren had no intention of returning the note and only asked, which year is this note from? The owner's wife realized and smiled. You mean your note? It's from 2009, when you were in 9th grade. Jiren immediately denied. It's not mine. It's Yu Wenwen's. She had a crush on a teacher. I think this doesn't align with socialist core values. I'm taking it down in case any reporters come and take photos. The owner's wife gasped. Is that so? Jiren calmly said. Yes, it's really inappropriate. I'll take it back for her. The owner's wife hesitated, then agreed. All right then, but you should talk to her. 2009. How big would the age gap be between her and the teacher? The teacher is probably married with kids by now. Jiren stayed for a while longer, leaving the milk tea shop before it got busy. Just as he drove into the garage, he received a call from Yu Wenwen. No way. Did the owner's wife already tell her? Feeling guilty, Jiren's tone softened as he asked, what's up? On the other end, Yu Wenwen lowered her voice. Little Ranran, I saw Chin Lang. He's sitting with Ji Wei. Really? They're at Mu's restaurant. If you don't believe me, you can come and see for yourself. Jiren paused, then said impatiently, what's there to see? Can you stop bothering me with this nonsense in the future? He can meet whoever he wants. Why tell me? I'm not his father. Yu Wenwen thought about it and agreed. Oh, you're right. I just reacted instinctively. Okay, I'll hang up then. Jiren frowned, and after a while asked, wait, what did they say? How would I know? Jiren suddenly felt his throat hurt more, with a slight itch. No amount of coughing helped. After hanging up, Ji-ran walked a few steps, then suddenly remembered something. He took out the sticky note from his pocket. The owner's wife had kept it in good condition. After all these years, there was only one crease from being folded. He stared at the note for a while, then he suddenly clenched his fist, crumpling the note into a ball and threw it in the trash. When Chin Man came back, he saw Ji-ran playing a video game in front of the TV. He was wearing a mask and a thick jacket, looking lazy overall. Chin Man put the plastic bag on the table. Ji-ran didn't even glance at it, ignoring him completely. Just as he was about to fight the boss in the game, a large hand landed on his forehead. Chin Man said, "No fever." Ji-ran suddenly turned his head, moving away from his palm. "Get lost. Don't block my game." Chin Man looked at the screen. "I bought medicine. After this round, take some." Ji-ran's hands didn't stop moving. "You've poisoned it. I won't eat it." Chin Man found it amusing. "Doesn't being sick bother you?" Ji-ran ignored him, his hands moving skillfully. In less than 10 minutes, he defeated the boss. Chin Man sat on the sofa behind him, watching with interest. He loosened his tie and noticed the folder beside the sofa. He raised an eyebrow, picked it up, and flipped through a few pages. Half a minute later, he stared at the signature at the end of the document and asked, "Who did you meet today?" Ji-ran said, "Don't touch my stuff." Chin Man put down the document. "If I remember correctly, Shu Lin should be Ji Wei's assistant. He's Ji Wei's right-hand man. Why did you meet him? And he even brought you these materials." Ji-ran said irritably, "He's my man now." "What?" Chin Man thought he had misheard. "He's going to be my assistant from now on." Ji-ran dropped the controller, stood up and snatched the documents from Chin Man's hand. Chin Man frowned. "He's close to Ji Wei. I don't recommend keeping him by your side." "What about you?" Ji-ran suddenly interrupted, laughing sarcastically. "You're still Ji Wei's old classmate and friend. Brothers for years, yet I still slept with you." At these words, Chin Man was stunned. The living room was quiet for half a minute, with only the game's background music. Chin Man thought for a moment, then rubbed his forehead and said helplessly, "Is your butt hurting again?" Ji-ran exploded instantly. "Your butt is the one hurting. Your whole family's butts are hurting." Chin Man asked innocently, "Then what did I do to offend you?" Ji-ran threw the documents into the bedroom, came out and sat back on the carpet to play the game. Chin Man sat beside him and repeated slowly, "Take some medicine." Ji-ran frowned. "Can you stop pretending in front of me? This wasn't included in the package I bought initially." Chin Man smiled. "This is a complimentary service." Ji-ran elbowed him away. "I don't need it. Stop nagging." Chin Man nodded, said, "All right," and stood up to enter the bedroom. The door closed with a crisp bang. Ji-ran heard the sound, turned his head to see the empty space beside him. Really just a complimentary service. He just left like that. His face darkened as he beat the enemies on the screen to death. By nighttime, Ji-ran had showered early and gone to bed. Due to his throat inflammation, his body temperature had also risen a bit. After having several nightmares, he was finally woken up. He barely opened his eyes to see Chin Man's serious expression. "You've been talking in your sleep. Your fever isn't going down. I'm taking you to the hospital." Ji-ran's temper wasn't bad. He was just physically uncomfortable. "Usually, he's quite nice to me and his friends. Look at how protective Chin Man is. Such boyfriend material. Incredibly handsome." In the last episode, Ji-ran returned home and developed a high fever in the middle of the night. After several nightmares, he was finally woken up. He struggled to open his eyes and looked at the person in front of him, asking irritably, "What is it?" Chin Man's palm was on the side of his face, his expression serious. "You've been talking in your sleep. Your fever isn't going down. Let's go to the hospital." Ji-ran looked at the time, pulled the blanket over himself. "It's already 3 a.m. What hospital? I'm not going. I want to sleep. Don't bother me." Half a minute later, the blanket was pulled off. Chin Man had already changed clothes. He said, "Either you get up yourself, or I'll help you." Ji-ran looked unwilling. "I said I'm not going." As soon as he finished speaking, Chin Man took action. He forcibly helped Ji-ran sit up. He grabbed some clothes from the wardrobe and started putting them on Ji-ran, wrapping him up tightly. Ji-ran passively extended his arms and legs, cursing, "I'll deal with you when I'm better. You're just putting on clothes. Don't touch me. These clothes are out of season. I won't wear them. Did you hear me?" Chin Man patiently helped him dress, thinking this person wouldn't be so sick if he talked less. He knelt by the bed, staring at Ji-ran. "I'll ask you one more time. Will you walk yourself or do I need to help you?" Ji-ran lowered his head and looked at him for a few seconds. He averted his gaze. "I'm a grown man. I don't need you to carry me. Stand up and support me." When one has a fever, they get drowsy. Ji-ran struggled to keep his eyes open, staring at the scenery outside the car window. At 3 a.m., the streets were empty. Chin Man was driving fast. Jiran glanced at the speedometer and asked, "What, not afraid of getting points deducted now?" Chin Man replied, "I am, but I've never had points deducted from my license. It's okay to have it happen once." Jiran asked again, "Is this a complimentary service or a paid one? Let me tell you up front, I won't pay your fine. Don't try to force me to spend money." Chin Man raised his hand and touched Jiran's forehead with a tissue. Jiran was startled. Then he heard Chin Man say, "I won't charge you. Don't worry." Jiran's fever was quite high, so the doctor immediately prescribed an IV drip. He lazily leaned back in the chair, watching the needle slowly pierce his skin. "This is caused by your throat inflammation. You should avoid fried foods and drink more water these days." The nurse carefully fixed the needle and then asked the person next to him, "Are you his friend?" Seeing Chin Man nod, she continued, "It's best to take these medicines after meals. Otherwise, you should buy him something to eat. There are 2 porridge shops nearby that are open 24 hours. Jiran mumbled, "I won't eat," before he could finish. Chin Man covered his mouth. "I'll take care of him. Thank you." After the nurse left, Chin Man sat next to him, holding all the medicine in his hand. Then he reached out to give it to him. "Take it." Jiran felt a bit uncomfortable. Chin Man wasn't forcing him to drink porridge. Given his previous personality, he should at least say a few insincere pleasantries. Jiran stared at the medicine in his hand, then said stiffly, "I want to drink porridge." Chin Man raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you say you wouldn't eat?" Jiran bristled. "I've changed my mind. Is that not allowed? Are you buying or not? If not, I'll order takeout myself." "Alright, wait for me a moment." As Chin Man just walked out of the injection room, he heard the nurse from earlier chatting with her colleague. "That feverish handsome guy you like has a bit of a temper." The nurse beside her was surprised. "Really? How bad?" "He's quite rude when talking to his friend. Seems hard to get along with. But then again, although his temper is a bit bad, he's good looking, and his veins are easy to find. If you really like him, you could try." Chin Man walked straight over to them. He looked at them seriously and said, "His temper isn't bad." The nurse turned around, her face reddening. "I didn't mean it like that. Sorry." Chin Man continued, "It's fine. He's just not feeling well. Usually, he's quite nice to me and his friends." "I see." The nurse quickly changed the subject. "Are you leaving? Going to buy him some porridge?" Chin Man's smile was flawless, his tone natural. "His girlfriend couldn't come, so I'm taking care of him." Hearing the word, girlfriend, the other nurse's expression changed. "I see. Well, you should go then. Soon." Chin Man returned with the porridge, using the excuse that Jiran's hand was inconvenient. He fed him spoonful by spoonful. After drinking the porridge, Jiran felt warm in his stomach and much more comfortable overall, so he ordered, "I think it's about done. Go get the nurse to remove the IV." Chin Man looked at the IV bag above, which hadn't moved and still had half left. Jiran urged, "I don't want to do this anymore. I'll be fine after taking medicine and sleeping for 2 hours. Hurry and finish the IV." Chin Man had an unyielding look. Jiran felt dizzy and had no energy to argue. He leaned back, planning to sleep a bit in the chair. Chin Man suddenly spoke. "That Shu Lin has worked under Ji Wei for many years. Although he's just an assistant, he's had a hand in all of Ji Wei's projects. He's basically Ji Wei's heart. Are you really comfortable having him transferred to your department? Don't move. I'm just checking if your fever has gone down." In the last episode, Jiran had a high fever in the middle of the night, and Chin Man took him to the hospital. During this time, he suddenly said, "Shu Lin has worked under Ji Wei for many years. Although he's just an assistant, he's had a hand in all of Ji Wei's projects. He's basically Ji Wei's heart. Are you really comfortable having him transferred to your department?" Jiran closed his eyes and said self-mockingly, "It's none of your business. I'm impressed you know so much about Ji Wei's assistant. What's the deal? Are you his half-brother?" Chin Man explained. "I've looked into all of Ji Wei's employees to some extent. Didn't I show you all the information?" Remembering those documents, he had only glanced at them briefly, not having time to read them in detail. Jiran sneered. "I thought Shu Lin's job change had panicked Ji Wei, and he specifically called you out to give him advice." Chin Man paused, quickly understanding. "Advice? You mean this afternoon's matter?" Jiran immediately denied it, remembering seeing Yu Wenwen at the restaurant. Chin Man explained, "This afternoon I had an appointment with a friend. After chatting, I happened to run into Ji Wei. He said he wanted to discuss the class reunion with me, and I couldn't refuse." Jiran turned his head unnaturally. "No one wants to know who you met this afternoon. Don't bother me. I want to sleep." Chin Man looked at him, closed his eyes, sighed lightly, and said no more. It was nearly 5 o'clock when they left the hospital after finishing the IV. Returning home, Ji-ran headed straight for the room. He just wanted to lie back in bed and have a good sleep. He didn't want to deal with anything else. Chin-man took the keys from the car and locked the doors. Just as he was about to follow Ji-ran inside, he caught sight of a very noticeable purple paper ball in the trash can. One corner of the paper ball seemed to have something black on it, looking like the character for love. The next day, Ji-ran was woken up by the phone ringing. He groggily picked up the phone and looked at it. The screen showed it was Shu Lin calling. He instantly woke up. After agreeing on a time and place to meet, he was about to get up from bed when the person behind him pulled him into an embrace. The other hand felt his forehead. Ji-ran retreated a bit, his strength returning. He slapped the hand away forcefully. "What are you doing? Checking if your fever has gone down." Chin-man withdrew his hand. Watching Ji-ran jump out of bed nimbly, he crossed his arms under his face, lying down and asking, "Who was on the phone just now?" After answering, Shu Lin, Ji-ran went straight into the bathroom. When he came out after washing up, he saw that Chin-man had already laid out clothes for him, a white t-shirt and jeans, finally giving him a bit of a youthful look. Chin-man asked if he wanted to have breakfast first. Ji-ran paused his movements. "I'll eat when I get there." Chin-man nodded. "Then I'll go wash up. If you're ready, you can wait for me in the car." Ji-ran looked confused. "You're going too?" "I'm going to discuss work." "What are you going for?" Chin-man walked into the bathroom, leaving aside other conditions. "We still have a work contract between us, so I think I have the right to be present for work-related matters." Ji-ran thought for a moment. Given Shu Lin's long-winded nature, he probably wouldn't listen even if Chin-man went. Bringing Chin-man along might serve as a useful memo. Thinking this, Ji-ran no longer objected. He changed his clothes and walked out of the room. Entering the garage, Ji-ran was about to get in the car when he suddenly remembered something. He turned around, walked a few steps to the trash can, and abruptly squatted down. There were only a few tissues and a drink can in the trash bin. Nothing else. That's not right. He clearly remembered throwing that note here. Ji-ran searched around the trash bin for quite a while, his brows furrowed into a knot. He squatted there, thinking hard for a moment, and was about to search again. Just then, he heard footsteps from outside. He startled and quickly stood up. Chin-man walked into the garage and saw Ji-ran standing near the corner. He asked, "What are you doing?" "Nothing." Ji-ran casually walked to the car. Chin-man looked around and asked again, "Are you looking for something?" Ji-ran panicked and made up an excuse. "No. I'm just checking if the housekeeper did a thorough cleaning job at the restaurant." Shu Lin was surprised to see Chin-man, but she quickly adjusted her mood and cordially extended her hand to Chin-man. "Hello, Mr. Chin. I've heard a lot about you." Chin-man shook her hand. "Hello, I've heard about you too." It was a scene of grand mutual flattery. Ji-ran sat with his legs crossed, feeling extremely nauseated. He sent a WeChat message to the cleaning lady, asking if she had been to the house in the past 2 days. Meanwhile, Shu Lin said, "I thought I'd only have the chance to meet you after joining the company. Actually, I have many work-related things I'd like to discuss with you. Now I finally have the opportunity." Chin-man smiled. "How could that be? I'm living at Ji-ran's place now. If you have any questions, just ask him to relay them to me." Ji-ran didn't even look up. "Can't you two just exchange contact information directly? Can you afford to pay me to relay messages?" Shu Lin was stunned. She felt the previous conversation contained a lot of information. She remembered that half a month ago, Ji Wei had asked her to investigate these two people's past, but her investigation turned up nothing. Clean as a whistle. Apart from attending the same school, there were no other connections. Chin-man didn't mind Ji-ran's sarcasm at all. He took out his phone. "Well then, let's exchange contact information." Shu Lin snapped back to reality and hurriedly took out her phone. Alright, Ji-ran felt he had truly been foresighted. The materials Shu Lin prepared today were twice as much as yesterday. Chin-man occasionally browsed the documents and sometimes looked up to ask questions. The two of them talked until noon. Ji-ran was getting impatient and was about to interrupt them when his phone suddenly vibrated. He opened it to see a message from an unknown number. "Ji-ran, you're deliberately messing with me." Ji-ran frowned and replied, "Who are you?" A few seconds later, the other side immediately replied, "Wrong number." Just as Chin-man was about to ask if the person next to him was hungry, he saw Ji-ran stand up in pain.